I have been sentenced to sweep the mountain gate for 10 years, each day collecting fallen leaves to forge a blade array capable of slaying gods. When the prodigies of the sacred land besiege the palace, the spiritual energy of the entire mountain transforms into the tips of swords, poised against their throats. Chapter 1. What is this operation? In the realm of the 9 provinces, powerful figures abound. Within these provinces, the human race cultivates their essence, navigating the delicate balance of life and death. Mighty warriors can block the heavens with a mere flick of their fingers, shattering the void. Ordinary mortals refine their bodies, possessing the strength to rival mountains, capable of cleaving through stone. Beyond the 9 provinces lies an expanse of 1,000 realms, encompassing all wonders. Vast and enigmatic point one of these provinces is the Spirit Province, the desolate wilderness, the divine martial sect. Within the training grounds, thousands of martial artists engage in practical combat training, their fists and feet colliding, energies intertwining, stirring wild winds and tearing through the air. However, outside one particular training arena, a crowd of disciples is gathered in rapt attention. Lin Shun, struck down and sprawled on the ground, felt a numbing sensation coursing through his body, his eyes rolling back. Accompanied by convulsions, he coughed out a plume of white smoke. How dare you lay a hand on Brother Liao, Jianhua's woman? You worthless wretch! Do you truly believe someone like you deserves to covet Miss Qinga? The burly man atop the stage flicked his nails, sneering disdainfully. Beep, host has successfully traversed realms, initiating the loading of the heavenly Tao collection system 2. 4. As the cold, mechanical voice echoed, it stirred Lin Chen's consciousness. What on earth is happening? A searing pain radiated from his chest, blood splattering, several ribs shattered. As Lin Chen opened his eyes, a torrent of memories surged within his mind, enlightening him as if receiving divine revelations. In the vast world of the 9 provinces, the human race cultivates qi, and I am Lin Shun, a disciple of the outer sect of the divine martial sect, with realms such as body refinement, qi refinement, spirit communication, battle soul, and earthly fiend. Have I truly traversed into a fantastical realm? In but a fleeting moment, Lin Chun assimilated the memories that surged within his mind. The body he now inhabits belonged to a former disciple of the divine martial sect's outer sect, sharing his name Lin Chun. Since childhood, Lin Chun has shared a bond with Su Qing the daughter of the steward who adopted him, their relationship blossoming from innocent playmates to devoted companions. After they became partners, they both entered the outer sect of the divine martial sect together. Yet, less than a year into their sect life, Su Qing with her exceptional beauty, began to distance herself from Lin Shun, gravitating towards the elite inner sect disciple, Liao Jianhua, ultimately resorting to flattery to become his concubine. Liao Jianhua, a true disciple of the divine martial sect, held a status surpassing that of ordinary inner sect disciples, his future bright and limitless. With his influence and cunning, extinguishing Lin Shun would be as effortless as crushing an ant. When the impassioned Lin Shun sought justice, he was obstructed by Liao Jianhua's outer sect disciples, who sought to severely injure him under the guise of a duel. Brother, you have been wronged and yet still choose to grovel. A sycophant ends up with nothing in the end. Nevertheless, since we share the same name, and I have traversed into your body, I shall avenge your grievances. Fully comprehending the memories, Lin Chen's youthful, pallid visage was etched with a chilling smile. Ah, it seems this lad is not yet dead. Outside the arena, the observing disciples noted Lin Chen's seemingly responsive demeanor, whispering in curiosity. Disregarding the gazes upon him, Lin Chen suddenly perceived that beneath the feet of the outer sect disciples lay scattered luminous spheres of various hues. Some of these spheres were blue, red, or green, varying in size from that of an egg to a thumb, their colors and dimensions distinctly diverse. However, the majority of these attribute spheres emerged from the battles of the outer sect disciples on the arena. Each combat resulted in an unpredictable quantity of spheres, differing in color. What are these? Lin Chun pondered as he grasped 3 red spheres beside him. The radiance flickered, and they promptly merged into his being. A soothing and gentle warmth swirled within his chest, astonishingly healing his injuries. As his wounds mended, a screen materialized before Lin Chen's eyes. Acquired 7 points of vitality. Energy injuries have been healed. Heavenly Tao Attribute Collection System has been successfully loaded. This system is meticulously crafted by the esteemed master of solo games, who kindly advises, a moment of arrogance brings fleeting pleasure, yet sustained arrogance brings enduring delight. Host, Lin Shun. Cultivation level, third stage of body refinement. Maximum strength, for 1,000 kilograms, approximately equivalent to 1 tiger's might. Vitality energy, 7 points. Cultivation essence, 0 points. Mental strength, 0 points. My method, none. Combat skills, none. Elemental essence, 0 points. I just discovered that the small red ball I picked up can actually heal my injuries and enhance my physical strength. Lin Shen's eyes sparkled with excitement as he sprang to his feet in a sudden burst of energy, reaching out towards a nearby green orb and a white orb. The host has acquired the complete intermediate yellow tier martial technique, Gentle Breeze Step. The host has obtained 25 points of martial essence. This essence can be utilized for the cultivation of martial techniques or secret manuals. The successive emergence of 2 system notifications heightened Lin Shen's exhilaration. Ignoring the astonished and puzzled gazes of those around him, he began to frantically gather items from the ground. From the reactions of others, Lin Shen realized that these wondrous orbs were visible only to him. The host has gained 23 points of vital energy. Automatic absorption in progress, refining the body. The host has acquired 28 points of martial essence. The host has obtained 25 points of fire essence. The host has acquired the advanced yellow tier martial technique, Rending Wind Leg. Seeing Lin Shen frantically rummaging about, the burly, bare-chested man on the arena narrowed his eyes. A murderous intent emerging. His current directive was to eliminate Lin Shen for someone of his stature. Disposing of an outer sect disciple was a trivial task. Lin Shen, since you appear unscathed, let us continue our battle. The bare-chested man lunged forward, his fist resembling a colossal hammer, crashing down towards Lin Shen's back. The force of his punch collapsed the air, creating a thunderous explosion. Rip! Lin Shen suddenly turned, his legs striking like a whip, delivering a violent kick to the robust arm of his opponent. The force of the kick fractured the elbow bone. All present distinctly heard the crisp sound of the bone shattering, sending shivers down the spines of the onlooking disciples. Could it be? The power behind Lin Shen's kick seems to exceed 3 tiger strengths. I recall he is merely at the 3rd level of the body refinement realm. How can he possess such remarkable physical strength? Several disciples gasped in astonishment. Tiger strength is the unit of measurement within the body refinement realm, where 1 tiger strength equates to 4,500 kilograms, comparable to that of a fierce tiger. Only those at the 5th level of the body refinement realm and above could possibly cultivate 3 tiger strengths. As Lin Shen broke his opponent's elbow, 2 red orbs of light emerged from the injured arm, which he swiftly seized and absorbed into his body. Host gains 100 points of vitality energy. Oh, it seems that the attribute spheres dropped from defeating an opponent yield even greater values. Lin Shen licked his lips, absorbing the 100 points of vitality energy, causing his strength to surge by several thousand kilograms. He had now reached the 5th level of the body refinement realm. Shuehu, I hadn't even settled the score with you, yet here you come to seek your demise. Lin Shen flexed his body, a cacophony of cracking bones resonating as waves of energy surged forth. He cast a cold smile laced with murderous intent at Shuehu, who trembled at the overwhelming aura, feeling as though he were facing a humanoid beast. Damn it, has this kid been concealing his true power? Shuehu thought to himself, realizing the gravity of the situation as Lin Shen's presence unleashed a wave of energy. Lin Shen moved with the swiftness of a leopard, charging directly towards Shuehu. Raising his fist, he accumulated his strength and unleashed a powerful strike, the force of his punch astonishingly surpassing 4 tigers' might. The domineering force of his fist compelled Shuehu into a panic, as he desperately swung the only arm he could use to fend off the assault, retreating step by step, yet still succumbing to Lin Shen's relentless barrage of punches. With each blow that landed, vibrant orbs of attributes fell, all of which Lin Shen eagerly collected. System, I wish to learn the Gale Leg, consuming 120 points of martial essence, commencing the inheritance of Gale Leg for the host. A surge of unfamiliar memories flooded Lin Shen's mind. and in an instant he grasped the technique. Channeling all his energy, he executed a slashing kick that sliced through the air with a piercing wind. Boom! The thunderous impact resonated as Lin Chen's kick soared to 8 tigers' strength, shattering Xueha's ribcage. The latter was sent hurtling backward like an arrow, landing several meters away, bloodied and lifeless, slain on the spot. With Xueha's demise, Lin Chen felt an exhilarating rush of triumph and satisfaction. His soul merged seamlessly with the sensory memories of the original Lin Chen, and the essence of vengeance and justice became evident. This was the very nature of this world. For Lin Chen, his first act of killing brought him only exhilaration, devoid of any other emotions in this realm. If your methods are not ruthless enough, you are destined to be the one who falls. From the lifeless body of Xue Hu emerged a multitude of attribute orbs, which Lin Chen swiftly collected. Xue Hu, at the 5th level of body refinement, has actually perished. That last move seemed to be the wind splitter kick, didn't it? Its power has reached an astounding 8 tigers. However, he has provoked Liao Jianhua. He is undoubtedly doomed. Several onlookers retreated, unwilling to approach the increasingly lethal Lin Chen. Lin Chen cradled a multitude of attribute orbs, continuously absorbing them, resulting in a rapid surge in both strength and cultivation. Host has acquired 80 points of vitality energy, currently absorbing. Host has acquired 40 points of cultivation essence. Host has acquired 37 points of fire essence. Host has obtained the top-tier yellow-grade martial technique, Starfire Gun technique. Witnessing Lin Chen frantically grasping at the ground of the martial arts arena, his body refinement realm was astonishingly enhancing. It appeared he was on the verge of breaking through to the 6th level of body refinement, leaving numerous outer sect disciples dumbfounded, their scalps tingling in disbelief. It was as if they had encountered a ghost. What manner of cultivation technique is this? They had heard of breakthroughs through sudden enlightenment, the absorption of rare treasures, and even self-mutilating practices, but they had never seen someone achieve advancement simply by frantically grasping at the air. Chapter 2. The Surge of Attributes. The disciples were utterly bewildered by this turn of events. Ignoring the astonished gazes surrounding him, Lin Chen remained undeterred. For none dared to approach him after he had offended Liao Jianhua. Throughout the martial arena of the outer sect, Lin Chen persistently gathered various attribute orbs. Host, Lin Chen. Cultivation, 8th stage of body refinement. Maximum strength, 22 tiger power. Vitality energy, 782 points. Essence of martial arts, 491 points. Mental strength, 0 points. Heart method, none. Acquired combat skills, rending wind leg, gentle breeze treading dust. Possessed combat skill, Starfire Gun technique. Fire element energy, 185 points. Water, metal, wood, earth element energy, none. Upon witnessing the impressive array of values, Lin Chen could not help but laugh maniacally towards the heavens. What a delightful experience. Indeed, it was exhilarating. To have killed someone and yet remain so audacious, such bravado. However, those who offend senior brother Jianhua seldom meet a favorable fate. Such petty individuals. Today you shall perish here. Beneath the setting sun, the martial arena nestled on the mountainside of the divine martial sect was bathed in crimson. 2 figures clad in green emerged from the arena, advancing with the grace of dragons and the ferocity of tigers, emanating an overwhelming killing intent. They flanked Lin Chen, effectively cutting off his escape route, their true identities sending shockwaves through the other disciples. It was Yu Lang and Xia Fei, 2 of the top 100 disciples from the outer sect. Both possessed a formidable 8th stage of body refinement, wielding 18 and 19 tiger power, capable of capturing leopards and tearing tigers with bare hands, so powerful that they could split mountains with their fists. This young man possesses some enigmatic abilities, to the point that even I cannot discern the depths of his strength. No wonder it is said that Xue Hu met his demise at this youth's hands. It appears to be true. Let us all advance together, lest we incite the anger of our junior sister, Su Qing'er. The man with the sharp brows spoke in a cold, somber tone, while Xia Fei bent low, akin to a poised and fierce leopard ready to pounce. Lin Chen's physical realm had already reached the 8th level of body tempering. Even warriors of the same rank might struggle to unveil his true capabilities. Do they think that simply being 2 against 1 will secure their victory? Lin Chen shook his head with a chuckle, and as he stepped forward, A fleeting shadow passed by. Such astonishing speed. Could this young man truly have cultivated movement techniques within the body-tempering realm? Yulong gasped in astonishment, preparing to defend himself. Yet Lin Chen surged toward Xia Fei in an unexpected assault. "Ah Fei, be careful. This young man is coming for you," Yulong exclaimed sharply. Xia Fei's brutish visage twisted into a sneer of disdain and mockery, underestimating his opponent, believing that a mere burst of speed could render him invulnerable. Xia Fei's hand curved like an eagle's claw, exuding an overwhelming aura of bloodlust, striking out with lightning speed. Blood Eagle Claw. Bang! The collision of fist and claw resulted in Lin Chen's hand being marked with several bloody scratches. Yet the forceful impact still propelled Xia Fei several steps back. 2 crimson orbs of light fell from him, which he deftly caught, and it seemed that both parties had reached a stalemate. The host has gained 83 points of vitality energy. Lin Chen was exhilarated, yet Xia Fei displayed an expression of shock. This young man's strength had actually reached 22 tiger strength, allowing him to engage directly without employing any techniques. Whoosh! As Lin Chen's retreating figure stabilized, his movements shifted once more, his silhouette slicing through the air like a gale. His speed now doubled compared to before. What? It can be even faster. Before the thought was fully formed, Lin Chen executed a devastating wind-cleaving kick, snapping the opponent's neck with a single strike, leaving him lifeless in an instant. In just 2 moves, merely 2 moves, and the elite disciple from the outer sect of the Divine Martial Sect met his demise at Lin Chen's hands. This scene left the outer sect disciples lingering at the training ground utterly astonished and pale with shock. If Lin Chen's victory over Shui, who was merely a display of concealed strength, then obliterating Xia Fei in just 2 moves was truly monstrous. Lin Chen was merely 16 years old, while Xia Fei, at 20, had only just clawed his way into the ranks of the top 100 disciples in the outer sect. Such an achievement could not be attained solely through the limited resources available to lower-tier outer sect disciples. Innate talent and potential were indispensable. Upon the lifeless body of Xia Fei lay 4 orbs of varying colored attributes, alongside a swirling purple energy mass, within which floated a pale purple wooden chest. Without hesitation, Lin Chen seized it. Host has obtained the purple wood treasure chest. With no time to ponder the contents of the chest, Lin Chen transformed into a whirlwind, his steps as light and swift as a whispering breeze, propelling him towards the frigid direction. Whether it be 1 life or 2, the act of slaying remained the same. If the enemy shows no mercy, why should I extend compassion to others? A fierce and domineering aura of slaughter surged forth, as Lin Chen turned with unyielding momentum, akin to a dragon emerging from the depths. Damn it, this kid has hidden his strength so well. I am no match for him. Having witnessed Lin Chen's astonishing speed, Yulong was drenched in cold sweat. After all, he was a disciple of the outer sect with formidable strength, and instead of fleeing at the first opportunity, he prepared to confront the challenge head-on. With a force akin to a meteorite falling, the power of 19 tigers surged forth, and his punch collided directly with Lin Chen's gale kick. The ensuing explosion of air from their clash erupted like a detonation, unleashing a tempest that swept across 100 meters, causing the ground to fissure with faint cracks, while a severed arm was propelled away, blood gushing forth. Lin Chen staggered back several steps, and by the time he regained his footing, Yulong had already clutched his severed arm and, propelled by Lin Chen's force, made a hasty escape. Had he fled? It mattered little. Lin Chen had already amassed sufficient gains for the day. With time on his side, he vowed that within a month, he would personally return to the Divine Martial Sect to exact vengeance upon that scoundrel Liao Jianhua. Surveying the scene, Lin Chen collected 2 egg-sized red attribute orbs from beneath the severed arm, along with another fallen green wooden treasure chest. Without delay, he sped away, unimpeded by anyone. As he departed from the martial arts arena on the mountainside, the fact that he had slain 2 disciples of the outer sect would inevitably come to light. If Liao Jianhua were to discover this, it would merely take a word for him to eliminate Lin Chen. Remaining within the Divine Martial Sect was an unwise choice. Lin Chen resolved to pursue a swifter and more radical path to strength. The Divine Martial Sect was nestled within the Qingxia mountain range, and once he plunged into the depths of the mountains, no one would be able to track him down. In the twilight of the night, amidst the verdant expanse of the Qingxia mountain range and the resplendent Hongfeng forest, Lin Chen sat in meditation upon the gnarled trunk of an ancient pine. He activated his communication system and opened the previously acquired purple wooden treasure chest. upon opening the purple wooden treasure chest. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a first-tier, low-level weapon, the Silver Line Dragon Spear. A gleaming silver spear, longer than half a zhong, fell before Lin Chun. Its surface adorned with intricate silver lines resembling a soaring dragon, its dual tips radiating a chilling brilliance. The Silver Line Dragon Spear? Perfect. System. I wish to learn the Starfire Spear technique. Host learns the yellow-tier top-tier combat skill Starfire Spear technique, consuming 230 points of martial essence and 70 points of fire energy. In less than 10 breaths, Lin Chun successfully inherited the Starfire Spear technique, skillfully maneuvering the Silver Line Dragon Spear with one hand. Lin Chun absorbed over 1,000 points of vitality energy, officially advancing the body-tempering realm to the 9th level, with a maximum strength reaching 40 Tiger Power. 1 Tiger Power is equivalent to 500 kilograms of force, approximately 5 tons of might. If this were Earth, 40 Tiger Power would translate to an astonishing 180 tons of strength. With just a few punches, Lin Chun could sink a small vessel, embodying a truly monstrous power. Yet, within the realm of the Jiuzhou continent, everything seemed extraordinarily resilient. Even a piece of Qingtian stone required immense force to shatter. Thus, this 40 Tiger Power was not a source of pride for Lin Chun. The power of 40 tigers theoretically places me at the 9th level of the body refinement realm. However, I remain stagnant at the 8th level. Could this be what the ancient texts refer to as establishing a more solid foundation? Lin Chun surveyed himself and then activated the system to open another green wooden treasure chest. Opening the green wooden treasure chest grants the host a semi-finished treasure, Windwalker Shoes, which enhances movement speed by 30%. Applicable only to those below the 5th level of the Qi refinement realm. A pair of exquisite soft leather shoes adorned with azure patterns materialized before Lin Chun. Upon witnessing their effects, his eyes sparkled with excitement. With the Windwalker shoes in his possession, he gained an additional layer of self-preservation amidst the perilous mountains. Within the body refinement realm, almost no one would be able to catch his movements. The Qinxia mountain range is teeming with ferocious beasts, where danger and opportunity coexist. If I were to encounter 2 second-tier beasts, I would surely be in dire straits. Donning the Windwalker shoes, Lin Chun squinted as he spotted a dark red attribute orb shimmering on a slope 100 meters away. Armed with the Silver Line Dragon Spear, he leaped from the tree trunk and gracefully descended to the ground. He leapt forward, cautiously bending down to retrieve the dark red orb. The host acquires 80 points of ferocious beast vitality energy. This dark red orb is a drop from a ferocious beast. Lin Chun gazed around and was astonished to discover that numerous dark red orbs were scattered about. In addition, many attribute orbs lay strewn across the area, filling him with immense joy as he collected them. There were far more than those found in the Divine Martial Sex competition arena. With a vitality energy of 65 points, a skill essence of 15 points, a wood energy of 50 points, and a fire energy of 30 points. Lin Chun proceeded along the path illuminated by the dark red orbs he had collected. Upon arriving at the Crimson Peak Forest, he had gathered 17 dark red orbs, yielding him a total of 970 points in vitality energy. Following the trajectory of these orbs, he unexpectedly stumbled upon a mysterious cave nestled beneath a precipice. This cave, overgrown with weeds, emitted a foul stench reminiscent of rotting corpses, making it nearly imperceptible to the average person. Had it not been for the radiant glow of the attribute orbs, Lin Chun would have likely overlooked this eerie cave entrance. Inside, the cave exuded an ancient and malevolent aura, as if it harbored a primordial beast. Most strikingly, Lin Chun beheld a dazzling and intense azure light within. This luminescence bore a striking resemblance to the attribute orbs he had previously collected, yet its brilliance surpassed them by several magnitudes. There lay a treasure within. Almost instinctively, Lin Chun rubbed his hands together in exhilaration. Chapter 3. The Discovery of the Ancient Azure Dragon Bloodline. Despite the ominous and fearsome aura emanating from the cave, Lin Chun was resolute and unwilling to relinquish his pursuit. His instincts whispered to him that the opportunities concealed within the cave were beyond imagination. With a swift motion, Lin Chun grasped several fragments of stone, unleashing his energy as he hurled them into the dim recesses of the cave. As the stones penetrated the darkness, they elicited no response. Could it be that the ferocious beasts within had departed? A glimmer of hope sparked in Lin Chun's eyes as he cautiously approached. Upon entering the cave, he was greeted by a breathtaking sight. Cascading waterfalls and vast expanses, forming a magnificent lair. Amidst this enchanting scene, Lin Chun beheld an ethereal azure glow shimmering behind the veil of water. Daringly, he plunged into the waterfall, discovering a sphere of azure light, roughly the size of an egg, pulsating with an enchanting hue. Within the orb, the vague silhouette of a dragon-like figure danced around. As Lin Chun grasped the azure sphere, a luminous screen appeared before him. Congratulations, host. You have acquired 10 points of ancient azure dragon bloodline energy. The azure dragon bloodline. Lin Chun's mouth fell slightly agape as the azure sphere quivered and seamlessly melded into his left arm. At that moment, faint azure scales began to manifest upon his left arm. A thunderous and overwhelming aura, reminiscent of a primordial beast's roar, surged forth from Lin Chun's arm. He could distinctly feel the surge of vitality and power coursing through him, as the bloodline of the azure dragon granted him a temporary enhancement of strength. Lin Chun's heart surged with joy. With just a flicker of the azure dragon bloodline within his arm, an immense tide of power would surge forth. Boom. Yet, before he could fully grasp this newfound strength, a violent tremor from the outside world jolted him. Could it be that the master of this lair had returned? With a swift invocation of the wind-treading dust technique, Lin Chun dashed out of the cave, propelled by the echoes of battle resonating from the lake beyond the Red Peak forest. Curiosity piqued. Narrowing his eyes, Lin Chun moved like the wind, covering 100 meters in mere moments. In the serene lake of Red Peak Forest, a titanic serpent adorned with a verdant horn clashed fiercely with 7 figures. Waves of energy erupted, sending ripples and splashes across the lake's surface. The air crackled with tension, as blades of light flickered like a relentless storm, their sharp edges striking against the serpent's scales, causing vibrant azure blood to spurt forth. The serpent roared in agony, its massive tail sweeping through the air. "This is bad. Sistering, be careful," cried a youth in white, engaged in combat with the azure serpent. In a sudden twist, the serpent lunged forward at alarming speed, aiming for another female combatant. Caught off guard, her beautiful eyes widened in shock as she sensed the impending doom of the serpent's colossal tail crashing down upon her, foreseeing a tragic fate. Whoosh! As the tail descended, the others paled in fear, momentarily frozen, oblivious to the impending bloodshed. Moon Ying's delicate form trembled, just as she resigned herself to her fate. She unexpectedly found herself enveloped in powerful arms, the masculine aura of her savior enveloping her completely. Upon opening his eyes, the young man, clad in a blue robe, retained an air of youthful innocence, his lips curving into a confident smile. "Miss, are you all right?" Lin Chun casually inquired, discreetly absorbing the 2 blue attribute orbs he had previously collected. Host gains 150 points of water essence and 80 points of battle chi. "Thank you. What is your name? Are you a disciple from the outer sect?" As Lin Chun set down Yu Ying, her cheeks flushed slightly, yet upon observing his attire, a wave of astonishment surged within her. The speed he had just demonstrated was something even the top 10 disciples of the outer sect might struggle to replicate. "Sister, let us first deal with the enemy before anything else," Lin Chun remarked with a casual smile, his gaze shifting towards the formidable creature in the lake. This massive green python, towering at over 10 meters, was undoubtedly the master of the cave he had previously discovered, the demon green python. This ferocious beast bore a faint trace of the ancient azure dragon bloodline, far surpassing other beasts of its kind. Even as a first-tier beast, it could contend with the 7 inner sect disciples present, all of whom were skilled in the chi refinement stage. "Is this fellow from the outer sect?" That speed was quite intriguing, a burly man in black armor remarked, casting a glance at Lin Chun, his voice laced with intrigue. Meanwhile, a young man in white seethed with jealousy, yet could not conceal the astonishment in his eyes. Could this be a dark horse outside the top 10 disciples of the outer sect? The speed demonstrated had clearly reached the level of the chi refinement stage. Now was not the time for distraction. This creature had been provoked. Another poised woman with a short haircut coldly exclaimed, her blade slicing through the air to unleash a 3-meter-long arc of pristine battle aura. The others immediately focused their attention, disregarding Lin Chun, and launched their assault once more. "Junior brother, this fierce and domineering demon green python is not to be trifled with. Retreat quickly." Yu Ying stood gracefully, her elegant figure shielding Lin Chun. For despite her remarkable speed, she did not believe Lin Chun could contend with their formidable circle. Lin Shen chuckled softly and shook his head, wisely stepping aside. He was well aware that the 7 individuals were disciples of the inner sect of the divine martial sect, yet this demon green python was no ordinary foe. This ferocious beast harbored the bloodline of ancient, extraordinary creatures, possessing a degree of intelligence, and would not easily risk itself. The mere fact that it dared to confront 7 opponents here indicated it was entirely unafraid of their prowess. Surrounding them lay numerous attribute orbs left behind from the battle of the 7 inner sect disciples, and he could not resist the temptation to collect them. Vital Energy 150 points, Battle Aura Essence 120 points, Water Element Energy 155 points, Cultivation Technique Essence 142 points, Mental Power 12 points. The quality of these nearby attribute orbs was exceptionally high, even containing the exceedingly rare mental attribute orbs, which sparked an impulse in Lin Shen to smile widely. With such an abundance of attribute orbs, he had no worries about advancing to the Qi refinement stage in the near future. What is that lad fumbling about? Yuying questioned. Why don't you call on that young man for assistance? His agility should help us alleviate some of the combat burden. The burly man clad in black armor inadvertently caught sight of Lin Shen, who was incessantly bending down and rummaging about nearby, prompting a bewildered shout directed at Yuying. As a cultivator of the body refinement realm, his involvement in this battle could only lead to certain demise. As he reversed his weapon, unleashing 3 arcs of energy to repel the attack of the demon azure python, Yuying remarked without glancing back, "Why is this wretched thing so resilient?" The black-armored giant, wielding a massive iron hammer, felt his arms grow numb, despite executing his combat techniques and striking the serpent's head 3 times. He realized that he had only managed to inflict a minor irritation, with no substantial damage whatsoever. It must have a limit. We must all endure, urged the young man in white, as he moved closer to Yuying. Meanwhile, Lin Shen had already collected over 100 attribute orbs, experiencing an explosive surge in his gains. Host, Lin Shen. Cultivation, 9th level of body refinement realm. Limitless strength, 90 tiger power. Vital energy, 2,966 points. Essence of techniques, 873 points. Mental power, 52 points. Mind method, none. Acquired combat techniques, Gale leg, perfect level. Gentle breeze treading dust, perfect level. Starfire gun technique, perfect level. Possesses treasure, Windwalker shoes. Quintessence of battle energy, 772 points. Bloodline, Azure Dragon Bloodline, 10 points. Elemental energies, fire, 205 points. Water, 880 points. Metal, 129 points. Wood, 894 points. Earth, 791 points. Having absorbed 2,000 points of vitality energy, with 1,800 remaining, I have finally ascended to the 9th level of the body refinement realm. It is time to eliminate this behemoth and seize more of the Azure Dragon bloodline. Lin Shen exuded an overwhelming aura as he turned to face the formidable demonic Azure Python, his eyes gleaming with the fearless resolve of one unburdened by the weight of footwear. He shook his shoulders, and the bones within his flesh erupted with a cacophony of resounding cracks, akin to a ferocious azure dragon poised to emerge from its slumber. Chapter 4. The Azure Dragon Arm. The intelligence of the demon azure python is unlike that of ordinary ferocious beasts. If Lin Shen were to join the fray and reveal a threat to its formidable power, it would likely flee at once. Lin Shen must seek an opportunity for a decisive strike, leaving it no chance to escape. Though the demon azure python is powerful, by harnessing the bloodline of the azure dragon in his left arm, coupled with his marksmanship, he possesses the potential to unleash a force that could endanger it. It's a gamble. He suppressed his aura to an almost imperceptible level, concealing himself within the thicket, cautiously observing the battle between the 7 disciples and the python. Akin to a solitary wolf lurking in the shadows, poised to deliver a lethal blow. What is that? A keen and discerning light ignited in Lin Shen's eyes as he swiftly zeroed in on a minute fissure just beneath the head of the demon azure python. The scales in that area exhibited a faint tendency to crack, revealing signs of flesh wounds within, likely remnants from the earlier skirmish involving the 7 disciples. However, the 7 inner disciples, continuously repelled by the demon azure python, remained utterly oblivious to that subtle injury. It's right there. Lin Shen suddenly tightened his grip on the silver dragon spear, reversing it and dancing it with finesse, as if a coiling dragon was roaring, firmly held within his grasp. Roar! The demon azure python leapt from the lake's surface, its massive tail sweeping with ferocious force, driving back two inner disciples. It opened its gaping maw and lunged toward the young man in white and Yuang, just as the two braced themselves for a desperate struggle. A fleeting shadow sliced through the air, leaping forth with sudden velocity. The Azure Dragon bloodline. Possessed. Lin Chun gripped the gun tightly. The Azure Dragon tattoo on his left arm radiating a subtle luminescence, as torrents of formidable and malevolent energy surged forth from it. At this moment, the strength emanating from Lin Chen's left arm escalated rapidly. 150, 200, 240, 290 Tiger Force. The sheer power exuding from his left arm alone surpassed 290 Tiger Force. The demonic Azure Serpent instantly sensed a perilous threat. As it raised its head, Lin Chen's figure descended like a meteor. Starfire Spear Technique. Meteor Fall. The overwhelming and ferocious power surged forth with a deafening roar, concentrating over 300 Tiger Force into a singular point, transforming the silver thread dragon spear into the trajectory of a falling meteor. With 300 Tiger Force, the destructive capability rivaled the full force strikes of a 4th or 5th layer Chi refinement practitioner. Swoosh! The sharp tip of the spear pierced through the gaping wound beneath the demonic Azure Serpent's head, tearing through scales, penetrating flesh, and erupting into a shower of blood. Blossoming in midair, the colossal head of the demonic Azure Serpent was thus penetrated and shattered by Lin Chun, rolling to the ground. As Lin Chun landed, his entire body was drenched in blood, yet the coldness and malevolence etched upon his brow rendered him a demon from the depths of hell, instilling a terror in the 7 inner sect disciples that eclipsed even that of the demonic Azure Serpent. The turbulent energy coursing within Lin Chun caused his complexion to pale slightly. His cultivation was insufficient. The burden of the Azure Dragon bloodline upon his mortal shell had yet to reach a level where it could be wielded effortlessly. It appears that this tactic can only serve as a trump card. Should it be employed a second time, one might very well succumb to exhaustion and faint. Lin Chun clutched his chest, a bitter smile playing on his lips. The 7 inner sect disciples stood frozen in astonishment, while Yuang delicately covered her red lips, rendered speechless by the shock. This outer sect disciple actually defeated the demon green python with just a single strike? He seems to be merely at the body refinement stage. The power of that blow must have exceeded 300 tiger strength. What kind of anomaly is he? My goodness, when I reached the 9th level of body refinement, I could barely muster 55 tiger strength. This lad is simply terrifying. The severed head of the demon green python fell, releasing a multitude of dark red attribute orbs and 3 ghostly blue attribute orbs. Furthermore, its lifeless body revealed a mysterious iron treasure chest radiating a mesmerizing glow. Lin Chun hurriedly gathered all the attribute orbs as the system's interface materialized before him. Host has acquired a mysterious iron treasure chest, 35 points of Azure Dragon bloodline, 55 points of mental power, 6,959 points of vitality energy, and 1,632 points of water energy. Observing Lin Chun bending down to rummage through the air and the corpse of the demon green python with such enthusiasm, the 7 inner sect disciples were utterly confounded. The demon green python is a veritable treasure trove, yet this young man seemed to disregard everything, merely flailing about in the air and at the corpse. As Lin Chun opened the mysterious iron treasure chest, a message from the system appeared. Congratulations, host. You have acquired the unique secret technique True Water Returns to Origin. This technique is of the water attribute and, according to the system's assessment, requires at least the Chi refining stage for usage. It can consume battle energy to swiftly heal one's injuries. Lin Chen's mouth slightly agape. He realized he had truly stumbled upon a treasure. Just as he reveled in his newfound joy after collecting all the attribute orbs, the short-haired woman with a sword, Cheng Yan, inquired, "My name is Cheng Yan. May I ask the name of this junior brother?" Her tone was gentle and respectful, clearly regarding him as more than just an ordinary outer sect disciple. "I am Lin Chun, an outer sect disciple. Pleased to meet you, Senior Sister Cheng," Lin Chun replied, neither servile nor arrogant, a grin on his face. As he secretly absorbed the attribute orbs, restoring his body, his strength surged once more. What a remarkable young man. To slay the demon Azure Python even at a higher level. According to our rules, whoever delivers the final blow gets to choose materials from the demon Azure Python's corpse first. You may select first, the burly man in black armor grinned, but was quickly met with a dissenting voice from behind. "No way. We cannot allow this young man to choose first. If it weren't for our earlier struggles, how could he, as an outer sect disciple, be considered equal to us in dividing the spoils of the demon Azure Python? At that moment, the white-clad youth disdainfully positioned himself in front of Lin Chen, looking down upon him. Listen, kid, know your place. You are merely an outer sect disciple. Even if you were fortunate enough to slay the demon Azure Python, you are still nothing but a mere body refinement realm practitioner. The young man clad in white harbored no fear of Lin Chen. His cultivation had reached the 5th level of Qi refinement, and he believed that Lin Chen's previous strike that felled the demonic Azure Python was merely a stroke of luck. Though his technique unleashed a formidable 300 tiger strength, it was likely that he would find it difficult to unleash it again in a short span of time. Furthermore, if he were not struck in close combat, there was no need for concern. Once he regained his full strength, dispatching a mere body refinement realm practitioner would be effortless. With a fierce determination, a sinister smile crept across the young man's face. Begone. Given that you saved my junior sister Inger, I shall not hold this against you. He continued. Neither my brother nor I agree. What right does a mere external sect waste of the body refinement realm have to share in the treasures of a formidable creature like the demonic Azure Python? Following his remarks, a pair of twin inner sect disciples stepped forward, casting a disdainful glance at Lin Chen. Witnessing the white-clad youth show no respect towards Lin Chen, Yu Ying's fair visage shifted slightly. So you are a senior brother of the inner sect in the Qi refinement realm, quite domineering indeed. It's truly a pity that someone with your stature isn't playing basketball. A cruel smile curled at the corners of Lin Chen's lips. Initially, he had no intention of claiming any spoils from the demonic Azure Python, but now he had changed his mind. With a swift motion, the silver-lined dragon spear was seized in his grasp, and in a fit of fury, Lin Chen hurled it forward, the spear tip transforming into a bolt of lightning. Everyone was taken aback. The white-clad youth was especially astonished that Lin Chen would take action without hesitation. Chapter 5. Is this kid insane? Seeking death. The three-flower sword Qi technique. The long sword at his waist was drawn with a chilling elegance as the young man in white leapt into the air, the sword tip tracing a delicate silver blossom that deflected the dragon spear hurled by Lin Chen. Boom. At the moment the spear was repelled, a fierce, dragon-like aura surged forth, rendering the young man's face pale with terror. The bloodline of the Azure Dragon was unleashed. Lin Chen raised his left arm high, revealing several pale blue scales around his wrist, with veins bulging as if his arm had transformed into that of the Azure Dragon. His fist, akin to a mountain-crushing hammer, descended with wrath upon the chest of the young man in white. The explosive force of his punch illustrated the terrifying power it possessed, rivaling that of some Qi refinement stage attacks. Despite the sword barrier before him, the white-clad youth was still sent flying by Lin Chen's blow, akin to a severed kite crashing to the ground, as 6 inner sect disciples distinctly heard the sound of his bones shattering. With a deep breath, Lin Chen, having absorbed the Azure Dragon bloodline moments prior, could now roughly control the output of power when activating the bloodline. His arm bore the beginnings of transformation into that of an Azure Dragon. He pondered whether acquiring more attribute orbs from the Azure Dragon bloodline would lead him to become a humanoid Azure Dragon. Lin Chen shook his hand, his eyes alight with bloodthirsty exhilaration. He strode forward to collect the 5 attribute orbs that had fallen from the young man in white. The host gains 200 points of battle essence, 41 points of mental strength, 704 points of vital energy, 277 points of technique essence, and 79 points of metal energy. Who dares to defy? Step forward. Lin Chen declared with an air of dominance, his voice icy and commanding. Ruthlessness, coldness, and cruelty emanated from him. The 6 inner sect disciples stood in stunned silence, taken aback by the prowess and audacity of this mere outer sect disciple, who had the audacity to strike at inner sect members without a second thought. Do you dissent? Lin Chen's narrowed gaze fell upon the twin inner sect disciples, a cold smirk playing on his lips. You. The two were left furious, yet speechless, fully intimidated by Lin Chen's decisive brutality. Enough. In just a few days, the ranking competition for inner sect disciples will commence. It is unnecessary to provoke this young man, they thought, cautiously retreating from Lin Chen's presence. The burly man in black armor hastily assisted the young man in white, whose face contorted in pain, revealing a flicker of fear. Should there be a next time? I will not hesitate to end you, Lin Chen remarked coldly, casting a brief glance at the young man in white. To eliminate him here would bring about unwarranted complications. That single punch was sufficient to incapacitate him for over 2 months, hindering his progress in cultivation. With that, Lin Chun turned to retrieve the silver-threaded dragon spear. Peeling a layer of scales from the head of the demonic azure serpent, resting it upon his shoulder as he departed. As Lin Chun's figure receded, Yu Ying felt a mix of gratitude and awe, while Cheng Yin's exquisite eyes sparkled with a unique brilliance, secretly marveling. If this junior brother were to ascend to the inner sect, he would undoubtedly become a formidable overlord. The energy derived from vanquishing the demonic azure python has propelled Lin Chun's physical prowess to unprecedented heights, rendering him qualified to attempt the transition to the Qi refinement stage. The body refinement stage merely serves as a foundation. It is within the Qi refinement stage that true cultivation commences. Upon achieving sufficient strength in his corporeal form, he will begin to perceive the spiritual essence of the world, drawing this energy into his dantian to cultivate his own primordial battle aura. The sturdier the foundation laid during the body refinement stage, the greater the likelihood of successfully advancing to the Qi refinement stage. Among the myriad outer disciples of the divine martial sect, only a few hundred have successfully broken through to the Qi refinement stage and attained inner disciple status through rigorous assessment. Should one fail to attain adequate strength during the body refinement stage or miss the optimal age for cultivating battle aura, they may find it exceedingly difficult to enter the Qi refinement stage in their lifetime, destined to remain an ordinary mortal. I have already amassed over 900 points of battle aura essence, and my physical strength continues to ascend. It is time to seek a secluded location to focus on advancing to the Qi refinement stage. Adorned in the azure python scales, thoroughly cleansed with pure water, Lin Chun diligently collected the scattered attribute orbs strewn across the ground. The scales of the demonic azure python are exceptionally resilient, offering commendable defensive capabilities, making them one of the most vital components of the creature. Just as Lin Chun remained vigilant of his surroundings while gathering the attribute orbs in the Red Peak Forest, a sudden tremor reverberated from the distance. Boom, boom, boom. The vibrations were remarkably steady, distinctly not a common earthquake. Moo. A long, resonant howl echoed through the air, accompanied by a surge of heat that swept over the landscape. A colossal creature, towering nearly 100 meters high, emerged several kilometers away, causing Lin Chun to gasp in astonishment. Could it be the legendary Baoshan giant elephant? This creature, exceedingly rare, is better described as a treasure beast rather than a mere ferocious beast. Though possessing a gentle disposition, it boasts formidable defensive capabilities and a physical advantage, as well as an innate ability to sense hidden treasures. This treasure beast feeds exclusively on the finest medicinal herbs and celestial treasures. Endowed with a natural gift for detecting riches, each mountain range may host 1 or 2 Baoshan giant elephants, which are replete with treasures. Yet they are exceedingly difficult to defeat, exhibiting defenses and destructive power that surpass most ferocious beasts. The Baoshan giant elephant before Lin Chun was at least at the pinnacle of the second tier, its cultivation level corresponding to the 9th stage of the spirit connection realm. Even warriors of the same rank might struggle to breach its defenses. The elephant's body gleamed a deep bronze, emanating an ancient, primal aura that instilled a sense of overwhelming pressure. As it moved, trees were uprooted and the ground cracked beneath its weight. Lin Chun, cognizant of the danger, quickly sought refuge behind a towering mountain, realizing that although the Baoshan giant elephant was not as violently aggressive as other ferocious beasts, a mere swipe of its tail could reduce him to mere fragments. The earth trembled, the ground quaking beneath him. It was only after the 30-meter-high giant gradually receded into the distance that Lin Chun exhaled in relief. Alas, if only my strength were sufficient, I might have followed this magnificent creature in search of celestial treasures, seizing the opportunity for great fortune. Lin Chun shook his head in regret, realizing that he was still too weak. His strength had already reached 117 tiger power, and he was on the verge of touching the pinnacle of the 9th level of the body refinement realm. After calming himself, Lin Chun was preparing to seek a safe place to break through to the Qi refinement realm, but the dazzling light several kilometers away caught his attention. A multitude of high-quality attribute orbs were clustered together, leaving Lin Chun dazzled. These orbs emitted a brilliance surpassing that of the treasures dropped by inner sect disciples. Could it be from the treasure mountain giant elephant? Lin Chun leaped up in excitement, overwhelmed with joy, as he swiftly dashed forward like a fleeting shadow on the breeze. However, As he approached those attribute orbs, he couldn't help but twitch his lips in disbelief. These resplendent attribute orbs were all piled atop a mound of deep green excrement. The treasure mountain giant elephant consumed nothing but the finest heavenly materials and earthly treasures. Even its droppings contained the energy remnants of numerous top-tier treasures, making the quality of these attribute orbs far from negligible. Damn it, I'll give it a shot. Warriors cultivate their battle chi. All of them tread the edge of a blade. Compared to those who risk their lives, what does this amount to? With a determined grit of his teeth, Lin Shen pinched his nose and bent down to pick up these highly valuable attribute orbs. Chapter 6. The Chi Refinement Realm. Returning to the sect. The host has acquired 894 points of vital energy, 465 points of wood energy, and 289 points of martial essence. Initially, Lin Shen experienced a sense of reluctance, but he was soon overwhelmed by an immense wave of joy. Vital energy is not solely applicable to the body refinement stage. Upon entering the Chi Refinement Realm, it is the cultivation of martial energy that represents the true path. The stronger the vital energy, the greater the body refinement strength. With no upper limit, the dung left by the great mountain giant elephant is not just a single pile. Lin Shen now eagerly hopes for more. As the attribute orbs atop are all treasures, I was utterly astonished. I never expected to encounter the great mountain giant elephant in the Qingxiao mountain range. Just then, several figures gradually emerged within the Red Peak forest, revealing themselves to be the 7 inner sect disciples from earlier. Their faces still bore the traces of lingering trepidation, yet they froze in place as they gazed ahead. To their astonishment, they beheld Lin Shen wildly rummaging through a pile of dung left by the great mountain giant elephant. What on earth? This bold individual is actually handling feces? Could it be that junior brother Lin Shen has become so absorbed in body refinement that he has lost his wits? This fellow might be out of his mind. How could he dare to touch that dung? Cheng Yin remarked with a furrowed brow. Unfazed by the presence of others, Lin Shen recklessly gathered the attribute orbs, even discovering a mysterious iron treasure chest. Upon opening the mysterious iron treasure chest, the host acquires the green-grade intermediate alchemy hand seal, heavenly spirit alchemy technique. Is it truly an alchemy hand seal? Elixirs are invaluable resources for the human cultivators of the Jiuzhou continent, and only those with innate spiritual powers that surpass the ordinary, who can master the exceedingly difficult alchemical hand seals, are qualified to concoct these potions. The rarity of each scroll containing these hand seals is the lifeblood of an alchemist, surpassing even the value of the recipes for the elixirs themselves. Ha! How exhilarating! Lin Shen could not contain his laughter, for the green-tier alchemical hand seals are valued comparably to a large city. Even the alchemical hand seals cataloged by the Xinyu sect are merely of the highest yellow tier. The existence of such exquisite green-tier hand seals is beyond the reach of even the sect master of Xinyu. However, the scene of Lin Shen's wild laughter left several inner disciples utterly bewildered, exchanging glances filled with astonishment. Could this child have lost his sanity? How could he be so joyous while clutching something akin to excrement? His condition must be quite severe. Once I break through to the Chi refinement stage, I too shall attempt to become an alchemist. What bliss! Lin Shen suppressed the elation within him, bending down once more to gather several attribute orbs. Retracing his steps to the area previously traversed by the colossal treasure elephant, collecting every single one without exception. Insanity. He must be insane. We should avoid provoking this madman. In a few days, the inner sect ranking competition will commence, and I do not wish to attract the attention of this lunatic. Let us pretend we have seen nothing. The black-armored giant, carrying the young man in white, wiped the sweat from his brow and remarked, "Alas, what a fine young man he was. How did he lose his sanity?" Cheng Yin sighed with profound regret. Meanwhile, Lin Shen meticulously gathered every attribute orb left behind by the colossal treasure mountain, collecting them all without exception. Subsequently, he retraced his steps, took a cleansing bath, and returned to the lair of the demon azure python. In this perilous expanse of the Qingxiao Mountains, only that sanctuary was suitable for him to enter seclusion and strive for the refining Qi realm. Within the lair of the demon azure python, the water curtain shifted. Lin Shen sat cross-legged upon a dry azure stone, activating the system. Host, Lin Shen. Cultivation level, peak of the 9th layer of body refinement. Maximum strength, 185 tiger power. Vital energy, 12, 561 points. Essence of skill, 1, 992 points. Mental power, 172 points. Heart method, none. Combat techniques learned. Gale leg, perfect level. Gentle breeze treading dust, perfect level. Starfire gun technique, perfect level. Items owned. Windrunner shoes, Heavenly Spirit transformation pill formula. True water returning origin formula. Essence of battle chi, 1, 228 points. Bloodline, Azure Dragon Bloodline, 45 points. Elemental energies, fire 785 points. Water 1, 545 points. Metal 1, 027 points. Wood 1, 452 points. Earth 1, 041 points. Lin Chun immersed himself in profound meditation, entering a state of deep focus. His corporeal form began to resonate with a peculiar vibration, as if he were intertwined with the very essence of heaven and earth. Subtly, Lin Chun sensed a delicate mist of white energy wafting through the air, and his body instinctively craved this ethereal essence. Is this the spiritual energy that pervades the universe? Come to me. With a surge of determination, Lin Chun's aura erupted, resonating with a thunderous sound as his entire corporeal form transformed into a vortex of immense suction, drawing in all the spiritual energy within a radius of 10 feet into his dantian. As the celestial energy entered his body, Lin Chun forcefully confined it within his dantian, unleashing the formidable power of his flesh, akin to a series of erupting volcanoes, exerting a terrifying aura that subdued the absorbed spiritual energy. The more solidly he established his foundation in the body refinement stage, the easier it would be to break through to the chi refinement stage. At the pinnacle of the body refinement stage, Lin Chun possessed the strength of 185 tigers, placing him among the ranks of geniuses even within the esteemed ancient sects. Under Lin Chun's suppression, all the spiritual energy obediently compressed into radiant streams, flowing through his meridians and into his dantian. The moment Lin Chun commenced refining his primordial battle energy, the 1279 points of battle energy essence within his system began to autonomously transform into his cultivation, resulting in an unprecedentedly swift breakthrough. After 2 hours, Lin Chun, seated upon a, suddenly opened his eyes. With a hissing sound, 2 tangible streams of energy, each the size of a thumb, shot forth, cleaving through a wall of the cavern and leaving a half-meter-long fissure. Within Lin Chun's dantian, a vast sea of white energy hovered, ceaselessly circulating. His aura had intensified to more than 5 times its previous strength. This time, as he harnessed the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to transform battle chi and refine his body, his raw power surpassed 925 tiger force. Regardless of how formidable the body refinement realm may be, it is ultimately but the domain of a brute. However, in the chi refinement realm, the cultivation of battle chi to refine the body allows one's inherent physical strength to dominate even the body refinement realm, not to mention the ability to unleash battle chi in combat. Thus, the martial artist undergoes a profound transformation in overall capability. Having attained the chi refinement realm, he began to cultivate the alchemical seals. The host is cultivating Heavenly Spirit alchemy technique, consuming 1,000 points of technique essence and all mental energy, currently integrating for the host. The host is cultivating true water returning to origin technique, consuming 992 points of technique essence, with 1,545 points of water energy. For 3 consecutive days, Lin Chun immersed himself in the cultivation of alchemical seals within the lair of the demon blue python, surrounded by ample medicinal materials for him to lavishly practice. In the Jojo continent, alchemical seals and combat techniques are classified into 6 tiers with 4 levels: yellow, green, blue, purple, and orange, each tier further divided into low, medium, high, and top levels. The complexity of the green tier alchemical seals is such that, without the aid of the system, given his innate talent, he would likely exhaust his entire life without ever becoming an alchemist. On the 4th day, when all the medicinal materials in the lair of the demon blue python had been depleted, Lin Chun finally concluded his closed-door alchemical training. Tomorrow marks the ranking competition for the inner sect disciples. It is time to reclaim everything. A glint of cold determination flashed in Lin Chun's eyes, akin to a swift cheetah, as his figure tore through the air, vanishing without a trace. Chapter 7. I will torment you to the point your mother won't recognize you. Within the inner sect of the divine martial sect, a towering peak rises, shrouded in clouds and mist, resembling a realm of immortals. A gorge has been carved out within the mountain, flanked by numerous disciples of the sect. Today marks the biannual ranking competition for the inner sect disciples, the most significant event of the inner sect. In the heart of the gorge, several arenas, each spanning several acres, have been set up. In front of the arenas, dozens of young men and women exude an impressive aura as they enter one by one, the top 50 disciples of the inner sect. I have high hopes for senior sister Ji Ro in this ranking competition. Her wave-splitting, wind-breaking palm can shatter mountains, and her mere presence is enough to intimidate us. The several inner sect disciples at the Qi refinement stage, TCH, with a sword in hand. Senior brother Tang Feng has already secured a spot in the top 10 during the last ranking competition. I anticipate he will reach the top 3 this time. Senior brother Sheng Yunhai has maintained the first position for 2 years. I wonder if any disciple from the inner sect can challenge his standing. Speaking of swordsmanship, I particularly favor Liao Jianhua. Although he is headstrong, his talent is truly extraordinary. Just half a year ago, he was able to spar with elders for dozens of rounds without defeat, clearly demonstrating his aptitude for the top 10 of the inner sect. I have heard that he also practices alchemy. He truly is a prodigy. Such talent can be quite daunting. The outer sect disciples, gathered on both sides of the gorge to observe the ranking competition, are abuzz with excitement and discussion. At the lowest tier of the gorge, the participating inner sect disciples sit in their designated positions. Boom. At the entrance, a fierce wind swirled as a young man, barely 20, entered. Clad in white and wielding a sword, his sharp brows and bright eyes exuded an air of aloof arrogance, as if he were gliding on the wind. Each step light and ethereal, inciting a chorus of gasps from the female disciples. Jianhua, you have arrived. A youthful woman, seated in a designated spot, rose with joy. Her beauty could rival the moon, and her sparkling eyes resembled tranquil waters, concealing a captivating allure beneath her seemingly gentle demeanor. Ah, Chinger, I sincerely thank you for gathering the medicinal herbs for me. They have allowed me to advance further, Liao Jianhua said as he reached his designated seat, pulling Su Qing'er into an embrace, his hands carelessly caressing her exquisite figure, a wicked grin spreading across his face. Hee, Liao Jianhua, I've heard that your fair companion is a disciple from the outer sect, Lin Chen's old flame. That Lin Chen is no ordinary person. He recently injured Sun Changyan with a single blow. You might have attracted considerable trouble, chuckled a burly man in black armor from behind Liao Jianhua. Su Qing'er's expression shifted slightly at the mention of Lin Chen, yet she quickly composed herself, laughing lightly. Lin Chen is merely an abandoned child taken in by my uncle, a complete mortal. Even if he possesses some fortuitous encounters, how could he ever be compared to my Jianhua? She covered her mouth with a delicate hand, her tone revealing unmistakable disdain for Lin Chen. He is just a useless fool with a bit of luck. If he dares to show himself, one sword from me will suffice. The title of the inner sect champion is rightfully mine. Liao Jianhua replied nonchalantly, his disdain evident. Is that Liao Jianhua? Lin Chen walked past the rear rows of the audience and caught sight of Liao Jianhua entering, his eyes narrowing slightly as a fleeting glimmer of murderous intent passed through. Subsequently, Lin Chen casually picked up a nearby attribute orb and absorbed it. He scanned the surroundings and noticed that apart from the disciples at the Qi refining stage, none of the disciples at the body refinement stage had attribute orbs beside them. It seems that those whose cultivation is either significantly weaker or stronger than mine do not possess attribute orbs. Observing the elders and the sect master of the divine martial sect on the high platform, he realized that they too were devoid of attribute orbs. Remaining still, Lin Chen calmly collected the attribute orbs from the audience on either side, preparing for what was to come. So this is the Liao Jianhua that Elder Lu has meticulously nurtured. Indeed, his agility is remarkable, and his sword intent is strikingly sharp, a promising talent. A man in green attire, seated at the edge of the canyon, nodded in approval. He chuckled, Sectmaster, this time Jianhua might just surprise you. An elderly man with white hair stroked his beard and laughed, appearing quite pleased with himself. Let us see what hidden cards this young fellow holds. The sect master of the divine martial sect replied with a light chuckle, shaking his head before rising to his feet. The internal ranking competition is now officially underway. We shall not indulge in further words. All internal disciples will draw lots for their matches, and every disciple present has one opportunity to challenge the internal disciples in this ranking competition. The arena was ablaze with excitement, as numerous disciples of the inner sect eagerly prepared for battle. The top 50 disciples stepped forward to draw lots. An elder, bearing the drawing box, emerged slowly and proclaimed loudly. All 50 disciples of the inner sect lined up, drawing lots one by one. Before making their way to the respective arena numbers they had drawn, a gasp rippled through the crowd at that moment. On platform number 7 stood a young man clad in silver robes, wielding a single blade, his fierce gaze and sharp eyebrows exuding an air of ruthless dominance. He was none other than the inner sect's foremost disciple, Zheng Yunhai. To his astonishment, his opponent was none other than the rising star, Liao Jianhua. The best dark horse faced off against the strongest of the inner sect. These two highly regarded masters of the inner sect were set to clash in the very first round. Brother Zheng Yunhai had already attained the 8th level of qi refinement, while Liao Jianhua, at only the 5th level, seemed unlikely to pose a threat. Many disciples of the inner sect swallowed hard. This battle promised to be nothing short of spectacular. Zheng Yunhai leaped into the arena, while Liao Jianhua soared into the air, both entering the stage with fervor. No matter your rank, a single strike from me can shatter myriad laws, Liao Jianhua declared, sword in hand, calmly facing the wind. Prepare to witness the truth of my prowess. Zheng Yunhai, unfazed, abruptly unsheathed his blade. This confrontation drew the keen interest of several elders, resembling a showdown of the top 10 contenders unfolding prematurely. As the blade was drawn, a brilliance akin to daylight swept across the arena. Zheng Yunhai wielded his sword with both hands, the force surging like a tempestuous wave, stirring the arena into a whirlwind of chaos. The tumultuous waves of the fierce tide cleaved through the air, unleashing a dazzling arc of white light that stretched several feet long, exuding an aura of lethal intent. The destructive power of this strike was formidable. Even the formidable magic serpent that Lin Chen had previously encountered could very well be repelled head-on by such an attack. With the first move, a deadly technique was unleashed. Zheng Yunhai did not underestimate Liao Jianhua in the slightest. With the Cloud Thunder Sword technique, the sword emerged like a dragon, its fierce energy piercing through the white light that concealed Zheng Yunhai's lethal blade. Liao Jianhua, invoking his agility like a tempest, engaged Zheng Yunhai in an instant. They both commenced their confrontation with techniques of the green tier, igniting fervent excitement among the unranked disciples of the inner sect. The clash of blades and the dance of swords continued unabated. Their combat experience was both shrewd and ruthless, with deadly intent evident in their eyes, throats, and hearts. As their blades met with a resounding ferocity that left the inner sect disciples breathless with terror, figures darted in a chaotic interplay. Both combatants ranked among the elite in the inner sect. Except for a select few, most disciples could only catch fleeting glimpses of their afterimages flashing by. The battles on other platforms paled in comparison to the intensity of this encounter, as an electrifying silence enveloped the crowd, each individual holding their breath, unwilling to miss a single detail. With narrowed eyes, Lin Shun practiced his alchemical hand seals, having absorbed the essence of the spiritual energy orb. His perception surpassed that of his peers by several folds, allowing him to witness Liao Jianhua as every movement in exquisite clarity. His mastery of swordsmanship was profound, yet he believed he might still find an opportunity to triumph over him. With a confident smile gracing his lips, while everyone else was engrossed in the battle, he quietly slipped into the inner disciple area, collecting a plethora of attribute orbs. On arena number 7, the clash of lightning strike and 3,000 waves of the sea blade escalated the confrontation to a fervent intensity. The arena trembled as countless sword shadows collided with dazzling arcs of electric light. The sword tip, flickering with lightning, seemed to gather strength, appearing to release its energy while concealing its true sharpness. Suddenly, with a swift flick, it unleashed 3 massive bolts of electricity aimed at Zheng Yunhai. What? Zheng Yunhai's expression shifted as he spun gracefully through the air, narrowly evading this unexpected follow-up attack. Immediately, Liao Jianhua's sword aura surged forth like a torrential downpour of pear blossoms. The sound of slicing wind echoed, and faint bloodstains began to appear on Zheng Yunhai's body. With a thunderous crash, the sword S-might struck him with unparalleled force. Blood sprayed into the air as Zheng Yunhai was sent hurtling away. Akin to a kite severed from its string, crashing to the ground, his chest stained crimson. Numerous outer disciples rose to their feet, astonished. Could today witness an unprecedented upset? Your swordsmanship has reached the point of transformation? Zheng Yunhai gasped, blood staining his lips, incredulous at the revelation. The realm of transformation represents the pinnacle of martial arts cultivation. where techniques flow with one's thoughts, manifesting at will, and retracting with mere intent. This state of unity between man and nature is a level few elders of the divine martial sect have attained. You are merely an extension of the mundane, while I, the illustrious one, am a true genius. I offer you an opportunity. Withdraw from the arena of your own accord, or I shall render you utterly defeated on the spot. Liao Jianhua, with his sword pointed ominously at Zheng Yunhai, exuded an aura of formidable confidence and disdain, dismissing him entirely. I concede. Zheng Yunhai bit his lip in frustration, lowering his head in defeat. In terms of combat skills, he believed he was not far behind Liao Jianhua. However, if the latter's swordsmanship had indeed reached a transcendent realm, then victory was beyond his grasp. Could it be that senior brother Zheng Yunhai has lost? Numerous disciples from the inner sect turned their gazes in astonishment, for the strongest among them, Zheng Yunhai, had been bested by Liao Jianhua, who had ranked only 40th 2 years prior. Ha ha ha, splendid. Remarkable. In all the generations of the divine martial sect, never has a disciple grasped swordsmanship of such caliber at such a tender age. Liao Jianhua is indeed the foremost prodigy of the divine martial sect. The sect leader chuckled heartily, stroking his beard in admiration for Liao Jianhua, while the elders hurried to offer their flattering congratulations. Amidst the lingering shock, a crisp and leisurely applause resonated throughout the arena. What an impressive display of transcendent swordsmanship. Might the great genius Liao be interested in engaging me in a match? All eyes turned to the source of the voice, as a young man clad in black strolled from the resting area of the ranked disciples, a captivating smile playing at the corners of his mouth. Young one, who might you be? The chief referee, perplexed, inquired, as he had no recollection of a disciple from the inner sect bearing that number. The outer sect disciple, Lin Chun, maintained an air of composure, greeting with a fist clasp. An outer sect disciple? Not only the chief referee, but also the thousands of disciples outside were momentarily taken aback. Lin Chun, it truly is him. And he has even advanced to the chi refinement stage? Su Qing'er shuddered slightly, uncertainty written across her features as she rose to gaze at his silhouette. An outer sect disciple daring to challenge Liao Jianhua, who had just triumphed over the strongest of the inner sect. Lin Chun, are you truly serious? The chief referee furrowed his brow, his tone laced with skepticism. While he had not transgressed any rules, such an act was undoubtedly akin to courting death. Is he truly that Lin Chun? Huh, I remember this fellow. It is said that when Su Qing'er sought out Liao Jianhua, he pursued her into the inner sect, weeping and sweating. It was utterly hilarious. I recall. Had Liao Jianhua not been sequestered in closed-door training, he could have dispatched him with a mere slap. This is likely a case of reckless abandon, a futile endeavor. Indeed comical. The outer sect disciples erupted into laughter. Even Liao Jianhua shook his head, amused. I am starting to wonder if you have lost your senses. You do not even qualify to touch the heels of this young master. Or perhaps this woman truly holds that much significance for you. Liao Jianhua raised an eyebrow, casting a teasing glance at Su Qing'er, then back at Lin Chun. Perhaps you should kneel and call me grandfather. I might show mercy and enlighten you on the pleasure she offers in bed. He laughed maniacally. Liao Jianhua's madness was palpable as he threw his head back in laughter. Lin Chun remained unperturbed, responding with a casual smile. Times have changed. Such scum is unworthy even to carry my shoes. And you, Liao Jianhua. Beneath that youthful visage lies a chilling aura of menace. I shall torment you to the point where even your mother would fail to recognize you. Chapter 8. Swordsmanship? I am quite skilled in that as well. Liao Jianhua's muscles trembled violently, his smile betraying a facade of mirth. It appears you are earnestly seeking death. Allow me to oblige. Come forth and meet your demise. With a thunderous roar, the sword energy surged forth as Liao Jianhua drew his blade, its sharp edge aimed directly at Lin Chun. Recognizing the murderous intent between the two, the elder referee announced loudly. Outer sect disciple Lin Chun challenges inner sect disciple Liao Jianhua. The will of both parties is established, and the outcome of this battle shall be left to fate. Even the referee seemed to favor Liao Jianhua, altering the rules to reflect a life-and-death struggle. With a powerful push of his feet, Lin Chun leapt onto the arena, every drop of his blood boiling with fervor. It felt as though the very essence of his being was urging him to annihilate this individual. Anyone else might be dismissed, but Liao Jianhua was the very embodiment of Lin Chun's former body's grievances and hatred, his sworn nemesis. How intriguing. Let us observe Lin Chun further. for he might indeed be a prodigious talent of our divine martial sect. The sect leader, seated upon the high platform, regarded Lin Shun with keen interest. Do not jest. This is merely a futile endeavor, scoffed the elder who had personally nurtured Liao Jianhua, dismissing the notion with a curl of his lip. Upon the arena, Lin Shun grasped his spear while Liao Jianhua stood poised with his sword. Allow me to demonstrate my true prowess to you, wild dog. As Liao Jianhua unleashed his strike, the blade sliced through the air, its brilliance dancing like a vengeful dragon, casting shadows across the entire arena. Embrace your end. The Infernal Dragon Sword Technique. With a piercing thrust, the dragon roared as Liao Jianhua revealed a swordsmanship even more formidable than during his battle with Zheng Yunhai. The fierce wind howled, his robes billowing. Lin Chen's vital energy surged, and he suddenly drew his gun, transforming into a point of starlight that coalesced into a meteor, colliding head-on with the sword's radiant dragon. Boom. Hiss. The unmatched ferocity of the power intertwined at the gun's tip with the sword's dragon light, causing the arena to tremble and crack. This wild dog actually withstood my Infernal Dragon Sword Technique. Liao Jianhua found it hard to believe, his wrist flicking the 3-foot azure blade, sweeping the dragon's tail, abruptly changing his offensive strategy to strike at Lin Chen's left side. Lin Shun twirled the dragon's dance gun, rising into the air and spinning, the gun's tip crashing downward with fury. The azure dragon tattoo on his left arm flickered momentarily, amplifying his strength even further. Bang! The gun's edge shattered the dragon, and both retreated 3 steps, though Liao Jianhua's steps were notably heavier. Previously, having collected all the attribute orbs from the audience's sides, Lin Chen's pure physical strength had reached approximately 1032 tiger strength. With sheer power alone, he could easily obliterate those at the 4th or 5th level of the Qi refining realm. Although entering the Qi refining realm would refine a warrior's body, it typically only increased strength by 1 to 200 tiger strength. A figure like Lin Shun, boasting over 1,000 tiger strength, was akin to a humanoid beast. Such astonishing pure power surpassed even his strength when he had slain the demon azure python. Outside the arena, Cheng Yan, who had not participated in the competition, gasped in astonishment, her beautiful eyes filled with curiosity. This wild dog possesses quite a talent. He certainly cannot afford to stumble now. As the storm surged, Liao Jianhua moved like a fleeting shadow, vanishing in an instant. With a resounding clang, his spear danced like a dragon, thrusting backward into the air. Startled, Liao Jianhua hastily raised his sword to block, absorbing the ferocious force of Lin Chen's attack, which left his arm tingling with the impact. From his left arm, a sphere of attribute light fell, which Lin Chen deftly caught with one hand, drawing it into his body as the system interface appeared. The host gains 588 points of martial essence. This fellow is a veritable treasure trove. With a burning battle spirit, Lin Chen licked his lips and, utilizing his Windwalker shoes, executed the breezy dust tread, maximizing his speed. Has he discerned my movements? There was no time to catch his breath. Liao Jianhua gripped his sword in reverse, and the two engaged in a fierce duel in an instant. Their clash far surpassed the previous battle with Zheng Yunhai. As the arena became riddled with cracks, and bursts of battle energy exploded, leaving all disciples in a daze, witnessing Liao Jianhua's true prowess for the first time. It turns out he had been holding back. Had he exerted all his strength in the earlier fight, I would have undoubtedly been defeated within 20 exchanges. Zheng Yunhai shook his head with a bitter smile, but the surrounding inner sect disciples were even more astonished. For Lin Chen was actually able to hold his ground against Liao Jianhua with his initial Qi refinement stage strength. The host gains 966 points of vitality energy, 334 points of martial essence, 172 points of gold energy, and 65 points of mental power. Lin Chen grew increasingly emboldened in battle, eagerly collecting every attribute light sphere that fell from Liao Jianhua, his attack momentum intensifying with each passing moment. Like a ferocious beast, every attempt by Liao Jianhua to shake off Lin Chen seemed to be anticipated in advance, as if Lin Chen had foreseen his every move, effectively restricting his actions and forcing him into close combat. Close quarters fighting was Lin Chen's forte, given his robust physique, which left Liao Jianhua overwhelmed with an urge to vomit blood. In this constrained melee, he found himself unable to execute many of his advanced sword techniques. Plagued by a frustrating sense of powerlessness, Lin Chen's ability to predict Liao Jianhua's movements stemmed from a mental acuity that was not only on par with his opponents, but perhaps even surpassed it. His formidable mental prowess allowed him to keenly discern every subtle detail of Liao Jianhua's actions, enabling him to anticipate his strikes. Bang! The heated battle was abruptly interrupted by a resounding explosion as Liao Jianhua severed Lin Chen's silver-threaded dragon spear with a single strike of his sword, demonstrating his cunning swordsmanship. Liao Jianhua swiftly followed up with a second strike aimed at Lin Chen's shoulder. The ferocious force surged through Lin Chen's left arm. At the moment Liao Jianhua's blade struck his shoulder, Lin Chen retaliated with a powerful palm strike that landed squarely on Liao Jianhua's chest. Puff! Blood spurted from Liao Jianhua as Lin Chen's shoulder bled profusely, both combatants staggering back several paces. The protective scales of the demonic green python shielded Lin Chen from severe injury, leaving him with only superficial wounds, whereas Liao Jianhua was likely to have suffered multiple broken ribs. At the instant Lin Chen struck Liao Jianhua, a faint green treasure chest flew forth, which Lin Chen deftly caught and opened immediately. The host opens the Xiantai treasure chest and acquires the green tier advanced sword technique 10,000 Thunder and 1,000 Weight Sword, an advanced combat skill of the green tier. The swordsmanship I have stumbled upon has even caught the attention of Lin Chen. System. I wish to learn this sword technique. Host learning 10,000 Thunder and 1,000 June Sword, consuming 2,585 points of martial essence. This advanced green tier swordsmanship nearly drained Lin Chen of all his martial essence in one breath, as a surge of new memories flooded into his mind. Now that you are weaponless, let us see how this wild dog intends to withstand my ultimate killing sword technique. Liao Jianhua, spitting blood, revealed a cruel and sinister smile, raising his sword high towards the heavens, as bolts of battle aura coalesced into arcs of lightning encircling the blade. Boom! The lightning struck down, tearing apart the entire arena with such force that even the elders could not help but take notice. This was undoubtedly an advanced green tier sword technique. It seemed that Liao Jianhua possessed a remarkable opportunity. Such a level of combat skill is scarce even within our divine martial sect. Not only does he possess it, but he is also capable of mastering it to perfection. Truly a prodigious talent. The sect master of the divine martial sect gasped in astonishment. The outcome of the battle still uncertain. However, what transpired next left them utterly astounded. Lin Chen's lips curled into a mocking smile. Swordsmanship? I can wield it as well. Come forth, sword. With a gesture, a sword from the waist of an outer sect disciple flew uncontrollably towards Lin Chen, which he grasped firmly in his hand. With a sword in hand, Lin Chen stood like an unparalleled swordsman at the pinnacle, cold and aloof. The 3-foot-long azure blade in his hand danced with resplendent flashes of lightning, a dazzling brilliance that mirrored the swordsmanship of Liao Jianhua, and it too had been cultivated to the realm of transformation. At that moment, the expressions of everyone present were nothing short of extraordinary. Chapter 9. Alchemy? I can do that too. No one anticipated this scene, where swords of the same realm clashed against each other, both wielding the same sword technique. How could this be possible? The thunderous blade technique I possess was acquired from the remnants of a deceased swordsman, and even Elder Qi is oblivious to how I obtained it. Liao Jianhua was shaken to the core. An instinctive sense of impending danger whispered to him that Lin Chen harbored a great secret, and he must be eliminated. Though unsure of where this wild dog had pilfered his swordsmanship, Liao Jianhua scoffed at the mere thought of this lowly practitioner, who, at the first level of qi refinement and lacking even a foundational technique, daring to contend with him in a sword duel. It was a death wish. A murderous intent surged forth as Liao Jianhua suddenly shouted, his sword slicing through the air like a pillar, the thunderous sword light extending for 10 zhang, accompanied by countless electric shadows, charging forth in a furious assault. The battle energy within Lin Chen's dantian rapidly dissipated. He drained every ounce of his martial energy to unleash a single strike. The two beams of lightning's sword light collided, producing a dazzling brilliance that was almost blinding. Crack! The sword lights shattered, revealing Lin Chen's martial prowess still lacking in strength, merely diminishing Liao Jianhua's might by half before he was forced to concede. Yet, Lin Chen did not retreat. Instead, he charged towards the oncoming thunderous blade technique with the ferocity of a phantom. With the bloodline of the Azure Dragon, he summoned fivefold strength. His left arm shimmered with azure light, dragon scale swirling, as an ancient roar of the dragon resonated, propelling his tiger strength to an astounding 3,000. Lin Chen raised his left arm and struck the thunderous sword light with a resounding clap. Bang! The terrifying and awe-inspiring power erupted like a tempest, shattering the incoming sword light with a single blow. What? He has single-handedly breached the advanced green-tier sword technique. Numerous elders abruptly rose, their eyes wide with disbelief as they fixated on Lin Chen's figure. He has actually broken through my thunderous blade technique. Liao Jianhua's complexion turned ashen, his face resembling that of a corpse. Before he could react, Lin Chen transformed into a fleeting shadow. Surging towards Liao Jianhua at the very moment, he shattered the sword light. With a swift grasp, Lin Chen seized Liao Jianhua's face, driving his head forcefully towards the ground. Several inner sect disciples were horrified, unable to fathom that Lin Chen was about to deliver a lethal blow. If this strike landed, Liao Jianhua's head would likely explode on the spot. In a critical moment, a ghostly figure appeared beside them, grasping Lin Chen's arm and Liao Jianhua's shoulder, forcibly separating the two. Enough, the outcome has been decided, cease your actions. The intervener was none other than the sect leader of the divine martial sect. Lin Chen frowned. He had intended to eliminate Liao Jianhua directly, only to be interrupted. The sect leader was at least at the battle spirit realm, and even if I unleashed the full power of the Azure Dragon Arm, it would be impossible to kill Liao Jianhua in his presence. Very well. I shall seek another opportunity. With a flicker in his gaze, Lin Chen swiftly retracted his murderous intent, catching the sect leader's slight attention. This young man, so adept at controlling his murderous heart, is often a truly formidable presence. The multitude of disciples remained in a state of shock. For a mere outer sect disciple had not only vanquished Liao Jianhua, the strongest of the inner sect, but had also compelled the sect leader to intervene personally. The young man acted without restraint, pursuing victory with unwavering determination, and thus sought the leader's understanding. Lin Chen clasped his hands in respect towards the leader, his demeanor serene. Esteemed leader, this boy must not be spared. His intent was clearly to slay Jianhua. Let me deal with him myself. Elder Qi, Liao Jianhua's master, arrived with a chilling presence, fixating his icy gaze upon Lin Chen. Had I been struck by that sword, my demise would have been inevitable. He is the one who sought my life, not the other way around, Lin Chen retorted with a mocking smile, showing no intention of yielding to his opponent. Preposterous. Do you comprehend the extraordinary talent of Jianhua? How can a mere brute from the outer sect compare? Elder Qi lifted Liao Jianhua, their eyes meeting coldly. Talent? All I see is a defeated hound. What talk of talent is there? In this world, there are only victors and vanquished. Were it not for the sect leader, he would now be but a puddle of flesh. Lin Chen's words were sharp and confrontational, daring to speak so boldly to Elder Qi, which caused some inner sect disciples to break into a cold sweat. Just as Elder Qi was about to unleash his fury, the recently revived Liao Jianhua hissed with venomous resentment. Lin Chen, you are merely a brute. Besides the sword, I am a distinguished alchemist. By what right do you presume to stand on equal footing with me? Esteemed leader, Jianhua implores you to strike down this insolent boy. The master of the divine martial sect cast a fleeting glance at him and replied calmly, Liao Jianhua, it is not your place to dictate our affairs. Liao Jianhua faltered, suppressing his murderous intent, a fleeting thought of animosity towards the master crossing his mind. Ha ha ha, being an alchemist is such a grand achievement, is it? It's merely alchemy. I can do that too. Lin Chen's startling declaration sent ripples through the crowd. He, too, was an alchemist? You can concoct potions? The master inquired with astonishment. As Lin Chen nodded nonchalantly, alchemists are among the rarest and most esteemed professions in the Jiuzhou continent. The criteria to become an alchemist are exceedingly stringent, and the scarcity of the alchemical hand seals makes the emergence of an alchemist a monumental rarity. After centuries of accumulation, the divine martial sect boasts only 2 alchemists. With Liao Jianhua, that would make 3. In this day and age, even the most insignificant individuals dare to call themselves alchemists, Elder Qi scoffed, clearly dismissing Lin Chen's claim. If you are dissatisfied, let us proceed to the second round, where we shall let our alchemical skills speak for themselves. However, I must stipulate that this match is a life and death contest. The loser shall not be granted the privilege of survival. Do you dare to accept? Lin Chen's countenance turned solemn, and his declaration of a life and death match left all the disciples in shock. Could he truly be an alchemist? It seemed impossible. He had scarcely encountered the rarest of materials throughout his youth. How could he possibly master the art of potion making? Su Qing'er could hardly believe her eyes. Having grown up alongside Lin Chen, she had witnessed firsthand the kind of person he was. How could he possibly be an alchemist? Humph. Does he truly think himself formidable just because he possesses a modicum of brute strength? Alchemy and martial arts are two entirely different realms. Liao Jianhua let out a derisive laugh, brushing off the dust from his shoulders. As if reclaiming his domain, he disdainfully belittled Lin Chun. If we are to compete, let it be in 2 days hence, in this very place, presided over and witnessed by the sect master, Lin Chun declared to Liao Jianhua. The competition would entail a trial in alchemy, with the formulas and materials dictated by the sect, and victory awarded to the one who produces the highest quality concoction. In a life-and-death contest, the loser's life would be surrendered to the victor. Elder Qi interjected before the sect master could speak, then turned his gaze towards Lin Chun. What say you? Is there any issue? Lin Chun felt a stir of apprehension. This old fox was surely up to some trickery, yet why should he be afraid? No problem at all. I hope you won't renege on your words when the time comes. Upon uttering this, the crowd was engulfed in astonishment. An upstart disciple from the outer sect, not only had he defeated the newly inducted strongest inner sect member, Liao Jianhua, but now he dared to challenge him to an alchemical contest? The sect master regarded the two with great interest and, after imparting a few words of instruction to Lin Chun, retreated to the high platform. Without looking back, Lin Chun leaped down from the arena. As he made his way towards the resting corridor, he caught sight of Su Qing'er standing there in a daze. Suddenly, upon meeting Lin Chun's sharp, cold gaze, her delicate frame quivered. She felt an unfamiliar sense of estrangement and hostility emanating from him, something she had never encountered before. In the past, Lin Chun would never have treated himself in such a manner. It was as if the Lin Chun before her was an entirely different stranger. As they brushed past each other, Lin Chun's indifferent and frigid mutterings reached Su Qing'er's ears. A wise bird chooses its perch. If you wish to depart, I shall not hold it against you, but you have chosen the wrong way. The so-called genius you have selected will be trampled beneath my feet, just as I did moments ago. And you, merely a pitiable woman of little consequence. Throughout his words, Lin Chun never once cast a glance in Su Qing'er's direction. Her beauty was pale, her lips lightly pursed, lost in thought. Chapter 10. The Alchemical Collision. The internal sect ranking competition continued until early the following morning. Although the battles of the other elite disciples were thrilling, they paled in comparison to the earlier clash between Lin Chun and Liao Jianhua. Moreover, what captivated the audience even more was the unprecedented alchemical duel in the history of the divine martial sect. Within the modest dormitory of the outer sect disciples, Lin Chun sat cross-legged, opening the status panel of his system. Host, Lin Chun Cultivation. First level of Qi Refinement Maximum Strength. 1253 Tiger Power Vital Energy. 55,884 points Essence of Techniques. 552 points Martial Spirit Essence. 15,465 points Mental Strength. 1799 points Mind Method. None acquired Combat Techniques. Gale Leg, Perfect Level. Gentle Breeze Treading Dust, Perfect Level. Starfire Gun Technique, Perfect Level. 10,000 Thunder and 1,000 Pounds Sword Technique, Perfect Level. Items Owned, Secret Manuals Windwalker Shoes. Heavenly Spirit Transformation Pill Formula, True Water Returning Origin Formula, 10, Bloodline, Azure Dragon Bloodline, 45 points, Elemental Energy, Fire 2995 points, Earth 1871 points, Wood 2242 points, Metal 3156 points, Water 2462 points. Confirming that he was unobserved, Lin Chun consumed a Qi-boosting pill and activated the True Water Returning Origin Formula, swiftly healing his injuries. The recovery speed of this True Water Returning Origin Formula was remarkable. Its value likely surpassed that of my Heavenly Spirit Transformation Pill imprint by a considerable margin. Lin Chun's injuries healed at a remarkable pace, thanks to the exceptional efficacy of the True Water Returning Yuan technique. He had never dared to employ such a miraculous secret art in public. The essence of battle energy he had acquired was sufficient for him to break through to another realm. First, he needed to cultivate. Taking a deep breath, Lin Chun rapidly absorbed all the battle energy attribute orbs stored in the system space. The energy sea within his dantian trembled suddenly, beginning to evolve toward the emergence of a second level. In the blink of an eye, 2 days passed swiftly, and Lin Chun forcefully stepped into the second level of Qi refinement, also refining the True Water Returning Yuan technique. On a clear morning, at the arena for the inner sect ranking competition, the venue was nearly filled with disciples of the divine martial sect, all eager not to miss this unprecedented alchemical duel. Today, one of the two prodigious talents of the divine martial sect, who had risen against the odds, would meet their demise here. On platform number 7, two jade platforms were laden with 7 or 8 rare herbs, accompanied by an ancient bronze alchemical furnace and a scroll sealed with jade containing the alchemical formula. Liao Jianhua, tall and imposing, stood against the wind, exuding an air of arrogance and disdain for all. His innate talent in alchemy surpassed even his prowess in the sword path. Lin Xin remained calm, ascending the platform with measured steps. Today's alchemical competition centered on the crafting of the divine martial sect's inherited second-tier low-grade elixir, the illusory spirit pill. Both competitors possessed 3 sets of medicinal materials, and exhausting their materials would be deemed a failure in the competition, should both produce finished elixirs. The victor would be determined by the quality of their creations. If the quality is evenly matched, victory will be determined by the speed of the refining process. The time allotted for alchemy is 3 days. Elder Qi personally oversees this alchemical competition, announcing to the audience in the center of the arena that the contest has begun. The mere mention of the name Zuling Dan immediately ignites fervent discussions among the disciples, even causing subtle shifts in the expressions of the elders. In the Jiuzhou continent, elixirs are exceedingly precious resources. Even the most basic first-tier elixirs require at least the strength of the Qi refinement stage to consume. Those in the body refinement stage cannot truly refine the energy contained within an elixir and are only suited to cultivate using the discarded remnants from failed alchemical attempts. Second-tier elixirs fall within the realm desired by those of the spirit connection stage, clearly indicating that they wish for Lin Xin to fail. Lin Xin narrowed his eyes. Although he appeared unaffected outwardly, his spiritual perception was exceptionally acute. He could discern from the aromas and energy fluctuations of the herbs that all the materials prepared for him in this contest were inferior. This old dog intends to deceive me, offering me these subpar materials for a second-tier elixir, clearly plotting against me. Recognizing Elder Qi's true scheme, a cold smirk crept across Lin Chen's lips. Meanwhile, Liao Jianhua had already picked up the recipe, channeling his mental energy to read it. He appeared invigorated and radiant, evidently having consumed some temporary elixir to enhance his mental acuity. It seems I can no longer rely on the alchemical furnace. I have only 3 sets of materials at my disposal. I must not take reckless risks. Lin Shun cast a glance at the alchemy furnace, having long relinquished any expectations regarding it. At this juncture, he could only rely on his bare hands to concoct elixirs. Unfurling the alchemical formula, Lin Xin channeled his mental energy into its depths, absorbing the intricate details within. Before long, Liao Jianhua had already perused the formula for the void spirit pill, his demeanor suggesting he was well aware of the competition's content in advance. With an air of familiarity, Liao Jianhua swiftly grasped a handful of medicinal herbs and commenced his crafting. His expression exuded an icy arrogance, embodying the poise of a master. As he interlaced his fingers and activated the alchemical hand seals, he drew the gaze of numerous onlookers. He cast a sprig of the Qingling Yuting into the furnace, his hands moving with astonishing speed, meticulously controlling the refinement of the herb. The advanced yellow-tier alchemical hand seal, 8-section brocade, was executed with remarkable swiftness. This was indeed the second-ranked alchemical hand seal of our divine martial sect, wasn't it? Liao Jianhua, merely in his early 20s, possessed such prodigious talent, rivaling even the 2 elder alchemists. Witnessing Liao Jianhua's adept use of the alchemical hand seal, many disciples could only gaze in awe. In stark contrast, Lin Shun required double the time taken by Liao Jianhua to fully comprehend the formula. He too seized the first herb, the Qingling Yuting, intertwining his 10 fingers to form seals. A pure white aura of battle energy enveloped the herb, accompanied by the surge of his mental force. Observing the spectacle, many disciples were left in a state of bewilderment. What was Lin Xin attempting to do, initiating the alchemical hand seal without even utilizing the furnace? Su Qing'er's enchanting gaze fixed intently on Lin Xin. She could hardly fathom that an ordinary person could unexpectedly transform into a distinguished alchemist. Her fingertips danced swiftly. As Lin Xun's hand seals and mental energy fluctuated, the impurities within the Qingling jade vine began to be meticulously eradicated. Ignoring the surrounding scrutiny, Lin Xin immersed himself in the alchemical process, wholly absorbed. How is this possible? This young man is indeed an alchemist, and he appears anything but a novice. The alchemical hand seals he employed are not of any sect within the clan. Several elders of the Xinwu sect regarded Lin Shun with newfound respect, nodding in approval, though Elder Chi's demeanor darkened slightly. For this occasion, he had deliberately brought forth his treasured elixir, which could temporarily enhance mental energy, to be used on Liao Jianhua. In less than an hour, both had nearly simultaneously commenced with the second ingredient. The time taken was identical. This outer sect disciple, Lin Shun, had actually caught up with senior brother Liao Jianhua. One cannot simply refer to him as an outer sect disciple. He has already surpassed Liao Jianhua in combat prowess. And when it comes to true merit, he stands as the strongest among the current disciples of our Xinwu sect. The speed with which he matched Liao Jianhua, without even utilizing an alchemical furnace, suggests that his alchemical hand seals are at least of the highest yellow tier. No, it is highly probable they are of the green tier. Many disciples and elders felt a surge of astonishment at this moment. No one dared to underestimate Lin Shun's strength and potential any longer. It is evident to all that Lin Shun exhibits superior prowess, as he has managed to pursue Liao Jianhua without even utilizing a medicinal cauldron. His alchemical hand seals and innate talent for pill concoction are undeniably on par with those of Liao Jianhua. The reality is even more disheartening, as the medicinal materials prepared for Lin Shun are, at the very least, twice as inferior as those of Liao Jianhua. As the fourth hour elapsed, both Lin Shun and Liao Jianhua encountered errors while refining their fourth medicinal herb, resulting in a failure to produce the elixir. Liao Jianhua's success rate in concocting the Zuling pill is less than 30%. Even with the temporary enhancement of his mental acuity through the consumption of a top-tier elixir, his success rate does not exceed 60%. Taking a deep breath, Liao Jianhua swiftly regrouped and invested another precious resource into the refining process. Lin Shun, too, recognized the challenges posed by this particular elixir, his brow furrowing slightly as beads of sweat trickled down his forehead. Unlike Liao Jianhua, who was well prepared, this was Lin Shun's inaugural encounter with a second-tier pill formula, presenting a far more formidable challenge. Moreover, his inability to utilize a medicinal cauldron required a significantly greater expenditure of mental energy than that of Liao Jianhua. Just as Lin Shun was poised to commence with the second medicinal herb, fully intent on taking a risk, he suddenly experienced a moment of clarity as he glanced towards Liao Jianhua's direction. To his astonishment, the ground surrounding Liao Jianhua was strewn with an abundance of attribute orbs. These orbs were all manifestations of mental energy attributes. Chapter 11. A Surge of Spiritual Power. At the moment when Lin Shun was contemplating a desperate gamble, he unexpectedly beheld a plethora of luminous orbs representing spiritual attributes scattered across the ground. This was sheer ecstasy. With his eyes sparkling with excitement, Lin Shun abruptly ceased his previous actions and approached Liao Jianhua. What could he be planning? Did he intend to abandon all restraint merely because of a single failed alchemical attempt? The elders were filled with confusion. And just as Elder Qi was about to reprimand Lin Shun, he was halted by the leader of the divine martial sect. This young man exhibited no trace of hostility. It seemed unlikely he intended to disrupt the established order. Let us observe further. Everyone watched as Lin Shun drew closer to Liao Jianhua, who, too, regarded him with caution, exclaiming, "What do you want approaching me? Do you intend to breach the rules?" Lin Shun merely chuckled. "You continue with your alchemy, and I shall stroll as I please. I am not infringing upon any regulations." With that, Lin Shun bent down to collect one of the spiritual attribute orbs, prompting the system to display a notification. Host has acquired 93 points of spiritual power. He continued to gather the attribute orbs near Liao Jianhua, amassing a total of 6, all of which were high-quality spiritual power orbs. In one breath, he had collected 573 points of spiritual power. The mental fatigue caused by his earlier alchemical endeavors had been completely restored, and his spiritual power had ascended to new heights. Goodness! It turns out that while an alchemist is engaged in their craft, so many spiritual attribute orbs can drop nearby. Lin Shun simply sat on the ground, a smile adorning his face as he gazed at Liao Jianhua. What was happening? The elders and observing disciples were utterly bewildered, wondering if he was succumbing to despair. Yet, the smile on Lin Shun's face resembled that of a flourishing rose, entirely inconsistent with the notion of surrender. Was Lin Shun perhaps lacking in mental acuity? Why was he fixated on Liao Jianhua while he was concocting medicine? Could he possibly be attempting to surreptitiously learn Liao Jianhua's alchemical techniques? This seemed implausible, as each alchemist employed distinct methods in their craft, and the mastery of mental focus varied significantly, making it impossible to merely steal such knowledge. Even the two elder alchemists could not discern Lin Chen's intentions. Though Liao Jianhua was displeased with Lin Chen's proximity, he realized that allowing him to linger would only enhance his own chances of success in alchemy. Elder Qi signaled to two 9th-tier Qi refinement elders stationed beside the arena. Should Lin Chen engage in any irregular or illicit behavior, they would swiftly intervene. However, contrary to the assumptions of the onlookers, Lin Chen remained by Liao Jianhua's side, grinning contentedly, occasionally rising to bend down and grasp at the air without committing any other infractions. This peculiar scene prompted Cheng Yan, Yuing, and the outer disciples who had witnessed the events at the martial arts field to draw strange connections to Lin Chen's various antics. As time flowed by, after enduring a day and night, Liao Jianhua, having faced two failures, finally began to condense the embryonic pill during his third attempt at alchemy. At this moment, less than a day remained until the conclusion of the competition. While some had begun to return in disappointment, seemingly foreseeing the outcome, Lin Chen finally rose to his feet and returned to his alchemical platform. Was this lad finally about to commence his alchemical endeavors? However, time was no longer on his side. Any misstep would undoubtedly secure victory for Liao Jianhua. The eyes of the two elder alchemists narrowed, while the leader of the Xinwu sect cast a gaze of keen interest. Seizing the first herb, a hint of confident smile graced Lin Chen's lips. With a remarkable 1369 points of mental energy, my vigil of a day and night was not in vain. The stage is set for me. With fingers interlaced, Lin Chen formed seals, enveloping the first herb with a majestic flow of mental energy infused with surging battle aura. Subsequently, he grasped a handful of Xian Yu Sui. Merging it together, the impurities of the two extraordinary materials transformed into wisps of gray vapor, simultaneously expelled. Compared to his previous speed, his alchemical pace had more than doubled. With his mental energy surging, Lin Chen adeptly utilized the intermediate green-tier alchemical seals. Was he truly concocting two types of herbs simultaneously without a cauldron? The green-tier alchemical seals he employed were undoubtedly of the green tier. The two elder alchemists were left speechless, their eyes reflecting a fervent greed. How dare he treat me with such disdain these past few days? Now he finally begins to concoct. Jealousy and resentment flickered in Liao Jianhua's eyes. Lin Chen paid no heed to the gazes surrounding him, his fingertips dancing rapidly as he deftly manipulated strands of battle energy, piercing through the second-tier herb, coaling grass, like a needle, decisively severing a portion of it and casting it aside. Discarding part of the herb itself could lead to insufficient energy and a failed alchemical endeavor. The sect leader of the divine martial sect caught this detail and felt a twinge of confusion. With a resounding thud, Lin Chen, one hand cradling the essence of the refined herb's energy liquid, slammed it onto the alchemy platform, once again tossing another coaling grass into the concoction. Just like before, Lin Chen removed a portion of the grass, merging the essence of the two herbs into one. The competition's formulas could not be fabricated, but the herbs could be tampered with. Elder Qi, intent on ensuring Liao Jianhua maintained an absolute advantage, had provided Lin Chen with nothing but inferior herbs, resulting in a remarkably low success rate for his concoctions. Furthermore, even if he were to succeed, the quality of his elixirs would undoubtedly pale in comparison to Liao Jianhua's. He audaciously utilized two sets of herbs to refine the illusory spirit pill. The two elder alchemists exchanged astonished glances, both recognizing their mutual shock. However, refining a single pill with two sets of herbs required an extraordinarily precise control of the merging process, achievable only by those with exceptional mental prowess. As Lin Chen utilized all the herbs in one go, even the most inexperienced disciples present could discern his actions, and many outer sect disciples leaped to their feet, fervently cheering in excitement. If Lin Chenhua surpasses Liao Jianhua in alchemy, it would signify a complete reversal for the disciples of the outer sect. An exhilarating prospect that has ignited fervent excitement among countless outer sect members. As time ticks away, beads of sweat trickle down Lin Chen's forehead as he meticulously channels all energy into a singular form. Boom! A refreshing gust, imbued with a rich fragrance of medicinal herbs, sweeps across the arena as both individuals unexpectedly refine their elixirs simultaneously. To triumph over me is no simple feat. A defiant confidence radiates from Liao Jianhua's countenance. Two pale blue elixirs materialize, and through the fluctuations of energy, both are evenly matched, leaving even the sect leader of Shinwazong unable to discern any difference. Lin Chen's combination of materials equals Liao Jianhua's output, indicating that his ingredients are not merely subpar, but rather of exceptional quality. He truly succeeded in refining that elixir. Nonetheless, it is not the worst outcome. My disciple Jianhua can at least secure a draw. Elder Qi's gaze towards Lin Chen flickers with a hint of malice. A tie, perhaps? That is acceptable. Both are prodigious talents of Shinwazong, and losing either would be a significant blow. A draw is preferable. While the crowd remains oblivious to any distinction in victory or defeat, Lin Chen, with one hand grasping the pale blue void spirit pill, lets out a resounding laugh that echoes throughout the arena. The true spectacle has only just begun. I invite everyone to watch closely. Lin Chen opens his palm, a flicker of azure light shimmering in the center of his hand. A magnificent surge of pure energy surged forth like a tempest, crashing directly over Liao Jianhua. What? Both Liao Jianhua and Elder Qi were left astounded and speechless. The most significant distinction between the green tier alchemy seal and the yellow tier alchemy seal lies not solely in the speed of alchemy, but rather in the unique value they embody. Each green tier alchemy seal possesses its own distinctive benefits. Lin Chen's heavenly spirit alchemy technique draws a thread of celestial essence from the world, infusing it into his spiritual energy, thereby awakening the inherent spirit and potential of the medicinal materials, elevating their energy beyond 40% of their original capacity. Chapter 12. Crushed Liao Jianhua. At this moment, the audience erupted in fervor. The scene dramatically turned, revealing that Lin Chen's ethereal spirit elixir surpassed Liao Jianhua's by leaps and bounds. Lin Chen, Lin Chen, Lin Chen. All the outer sect disciples resounded with shouts of his name. Today marks the moment when the representatives of the outer sect shall undoubtedly eclipse those of the inner sect. How could this be? How could this be? My master has proclaimed me a rare genius in alchemy. How could I possibly be outdone by this mongrel from the outer sect? Liao Jianhua's face turned ashen, his spirit waning as he muttered to himself. When the pillars of someone's extreme arrogance are shattered, they become remarkably fragile. Su Qing'er gazed at Lin Chen, who was basking in the adoration of the crowd. The young man's demeanor appeared composed and unflappable, devoid of arrogance, calm and unperturbed, enveloped in an aura of enigma. If only I had not coveted Liao Jianhua's potential. A profound bitterness welled up within Su Qing'er, and she could no longer restrain her soft sobs. Meanwhile, Lin Chen, reveling in the attention, remained unyieldingly steadfast. The moment he exhibited the quality of the ethereal spirit elixir, a murderous intent surged forth. The Azure Dragon bloodline unleashed 70% of its power. In an instant, the entire arena was engulfed in an endless vortex of malevolent energy and the roar of an enraged dragon. Lin Chen's figure transformed into a fleeting shadow, his left arm adorned with faint azure dragon scales, as he struck with a palm that shattered the air, collapsing the surrounding currents. The resounding cheers of the crowd abruptly ceased, as none anticipated Lin Chen's sudden and violent assault. By the time they grasped the situation, Lin Chen was merely a few meters away from Liao Jianhua. Even Elder Qi was too late to intervene. On the brink of collapse, Liao Jianhua had just begun to comprehend the gravity of the situation when Lin Chen's formidable hand, infused with over 4,000 tiger powers, ruthlessly struck the crown of his head. A thunderous boom echoed through the air as Lin Chen's palm shattered Liao Jianhua's body, the latter scarcely emitting a sound of anguish, as flesh and bone were instantly reduced to a gory puddle. In that fleeting moment of Liao Jianhua's demise, Lin Chen's body involuntarily shuddered, as if some chains and emotional entanglements had been severed, rendering his spirit more harmonious. From the lifeless form of Liao Jianhua fell 6 attribute orbs and a pale blue treasure chest, which Lin Chen deftly caught. The host gains 5,442 points of vitality energy, 584 points of mental strength, 2,344 points of battle essence, 3,044 points of martial arts essence, and 1 Xian iron treasure chest. The host opens the Xian iron treasure chest and acquires the green tier intermediate movement technique Wind Thunder Fire Step. After vanquishing Liao Jianhua, Lin Chen promptly refined the attribute orbs, his aura surging and resonating, the sea of battle energy within his dantian trembling slightly, on the verge of another split. Simultaneously, he remained utterly focused, bracing himself to absorb the vitality energy to further amplify the strength of his Azure Dragon arm. vigilant against Elder Chi's potential counterattack. A brief silence enveloped the arena, as many disciples were left awestruck by Lin Chen's decisive and ruthless demeanor. After 2 breaths, a roar filled with despair echoed forth. "How dare you lay hands on Jianhua? I will slay you." Elder Chi descended into madness, his battle aura surging as he prepared to strike Lin Chen down when a hand rested upon his shoulder. "Elder Chi, do you intend to disregard the words of our sect?" The indifferent tone of the sect master jolted Elder Chi back to reality. "Sect master, Jianhua is our sect's unparalleled genius, and to allow this boy to. But our sect has already given you a chance, have we not? Moreover, we now possess talents even greater than Liao Jianhua." The sect master interrupted Elder Chi's unwilling protests, his calm voice imbued with undeniable authority. Then I shall defer to the sect master's judgment." Elder Chi gritted his teeth, casting a venomous glance at Lin Chen before departing. Though Elder Chi held a high position, the sect master was the sole formidable warrior of the divine martial sect, and his words carried weight far beyond any other. Lin Chen has slain Liao Jianhua, determining the outcome of the alchemical wager. Today, I, the sect master, hereby announce that Lin Chen is elevated from an outer sect disciple to the strongest of the inner sect, without exception. With a grand gesture, the sect master proclaimed the verdict, and Lin Chen secretly breathed a sigh of relief. The sect master showed no flicker of emotion at the death of Liao Jianhua. His ruthless nature laid bare. "Lin Chen, accompany me to the Qingyun Hall. I have matters to discuss with you." The sect leader called upon Lin Chen, and many disciples of the inner sect cast envious glances his way. To be favored by the sect leader was an extraordinary opportunity for ascendance within the divine martial sect. Lin Chen's heart raced slightly, yet he maintained an impassive demeanor and nodded subtly. As he followed the sect leader away, the remaining disciples gradually dispersed, still lingering in their thoughts. In the divine martial sect, within the Azure Jade Hall, situated atop a majestic peak in the heart of the mountain range, all the elders had withdrawn, leaving only Lin Chen and the sect leader. "Come with me to our sect," the leader instructed as they exited the grand hall and began their ascent. Lin Chen was filled with curiosity, yet he dared not let his guard down, closely trailing the sect leader. With each step they took, Lin Chen sensed an extraordinary force at the summit of the peak that seemed to impede their movements. Progress became increasingly arduous, as though he were walking under the weight of countless burdens. An invisible force resisted his advance, were it not for Lin Chen's extraordinary physical resilience. He would have had to channel his martial energy to move at all. Eventually, they halted before a grand altar with 500 steps. Upon seeing the altar, Lin Chen's eyes sparkled with excitement. Each tier of the altar was laden with numerous attribute orbs. Counting them roughly, there were at least several hundred. Additionally, 3 floating treasure chests hovered above. Goodness, with so many attribute orbs, if I were to collect them all, my strength could soar to new heights. He licked his lips, his heart brimming with exhilaration. This altar has existed since the inception of our divine martial sect, and throughout the subsequent generations of disciples. None have been able to ascend its heights. We remain oblivious to what lies above. You, however, are the most exceptional disciple of the current era in our sect, which is why I wish for you to attempt the climb. This altar can only be scaled by the younger generation. We old-timers are incapable of such feats." The sect leader turned to Lin Chen with a smile, and without hesitation, Lin Chen nodded in agreement. "Very well, I shall give it a try." Regardless of the treasures that may await him above, the dazzling array of attribute orbs alone was enough to entice Lin Chen to embark on this venture. He stepped onto the first tier, and an overwhelming pressure surged through every pore of his being. Yet, endowed with the strength of 1,000 tigers, Lin Chen felt little burden as he bent down to collect several attribute orbs. Subsequently, he proceeded to the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th tiers, unabashedly gathering orbs before the sect leader. The host has acquired 5,422 points of vitality energy, 754 points of water energy, 578 points of battle essence, 972 points of martial essence, and 355 points of mental strength. The host has opened the black iron treasure chest and obtained Green Tier Ultimate Battle Technique Demon Battle King's Seal. It was a sheer delight. Were it not for the presence of the sect leader, Lin Chen might have laughed aloud with unrestrained joy. As he continued to collect attribute orbs, he completely disregarded the pressure emanating from the altar, ascending to the 80th tier, then the 100th, and finally the 150th tier, climbing ever higher. How could this young man's strength surge so rapidly? Could it be that he has unraveled the secrets and opportunities hidden within this altar? The sovereign, perplexed and uncertain, squinted his eyes. Chapter 13. Supreme Treasures and Character Runes. Even the sect master was taken aback, astonished by Lin Chen's surging aura. Lin Chen's corporeal strength and battle energy cultivation simultaneously broke through. His battle energy cultivation ascended to the 3rd level of the Qi refining realm, while his corporeal strength surpassed 1900 tiger power. Lin Chen surged up to the 400th level, seizing another azure black iron treasure chest. The host opens the black iron treasure chest and receives a 3rd-tier intermediate battle spear, 7 stars soul-snatching spear, accompanied by a top-tier green-level soul-snatching spear manual. The reward from the 2nd black iron treasure chest was even more bountiful, causing Lin Chen's pupils to tremble. Upon reaching the 460th level, Lin Chen grasped the final treasure chest. This chest was entirely different from the previous ones. It was pitch black, ancient, and unadorned, exuding an aura of primordial essence. What a fascinating treasure chest! What treasures lie within? Lin Chen opened it, and the system projected a light screen. The host opens the ancient treasure chest, receives a fragment of the ancient heart technique, an intermediate blue level, Chaos 5 spirit formula. The treasure obtained this time made Lin Chen gasp in astonishment. An intermediate blue level treasure. Moreover, it was the exceedingly rare and precious secret manual of heart techniques. My goodness, this time I have truly struck gold. Lin Chen's heart raced as he once again approached the altar at the mountain's peak. The closer he drew to the summit, the higher the quality of the attribute orbs and treasures he obtained. These were likely left behind by the most elite disciples of the previous generations of the Divine Martial Sect, or perhaps the fortuitous legacy left by the ancestors of the Divine Martial Sect. Upon reaching the 493rd step, the attribute orbs had vanished entirely, and Lin Chen found himself under an overwhelming strain. Continuing in this manner was untenable. He unleashed the power of his Qinglong bloodline, channeling 70% of its strength. With a thunderous roar, a terrifying aura surged forth as Lin Chen extended his palm to grasp the 497th step, utilizing the might of his Qinglong arm to propel himself upward. The ancient altar exuded an unchanging, timeless essence. Lin Chen collapsed upon it, breathless and fatigued, exerting immense effort merely to move a single finger. Lying on the ground, he sought to regain his strength, while at the center of the altar floated an unprecedented attribute orb. It was the size of a fist, within which ancient runes twisted and writhed like tadpoles, emanating a grayish-white light visible only to Lin Chen. All the pressure that enveloped the altar stemmed from this orb. What kind of attribute could it possibly possess? Lin Chen had never encountered such an attribute orb before. It bore a resemblance to the Qinglong bloodline orb he had previously acquired, with both radiating a singular brilliance. After resting for a quarter of an hour, Lin Chen struggled to rise. Though he moved slowly, he managed to advance, inching closer to the attribute orb until he finally cradled it in his palm. Congratulations, host, you have acquired the sluggish characteristic rune. Rune level 1. Characteristic rune. What attribute could this be? Lin Chen wore a bewildered expression as he accessed the system. Host, Lin Chen cultivation level, Qi refining stage 3 maximum strength, 2179 tiger power vital energy, 105,884 points battle Qi essence, for 2465 points mental strength, 4209 points technique essence, 20386 points heart method, none acquired techniques, perfected 10,000 thunder and 1000 June sword technique, heavenly spirit transformation pill technique, true water return technique, 10, possessions, secret manuals windwalker shoes, 7 stars soul snatching spear manual, for Demon King's seal. Chaotic 5 spirits technique inherited bloodline. Azure dragon bloodline, 45 points. Characteristic rune. Level 1 slowing rune. Rune energy, 500 points. Elemental energies. Fire, 8268 points. Earth, 6471 points. Wood, 6325 points. Metal, 7266 points. Water, 8432 points. System notification. The characteristic rune belongs to the host's attribute capabilities, possessing a unique and exclusive power, which can be attached to the host's battle Qi attacks or used independently. The slowing rune, when activated, can cause specific formidable opponents or designated spatial areas to enter a state of deceleration. The system's explanation left Lin Chen astonished. The power of this characteristic rune is likely terrifyingly strong. A timely strike that induces a slowing state in an enemy could decisively alter the course of battle. He chuckled. This acquisition has undoubtedly multiplied my strength several times over. Lin Shun resolutely seated himself upon the altar, contemplating whether the sect master might suddenly turn hostile. The paramount concern was transforming the attributes he had just acquired into combat prowess. System, I wish to cultivate the chaotic 5 spirits technique. Host consumes 13,000 points of essence to cultivate the chaotic 5 spirits technique, alongside 3,000 points of energy from each elemental category: metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. A torrent of newfound cultivation memories surged into Lin Chen's mind, as the energy sea within his dantian began to stir and transform, expanding exponentially. It blossomed into a vibrant array of colors, ultimately coalescing all elemental energies within the energy sea. The chaotic 5 spirits technique allows for the cultivation of 5 distinct attributes of battle aura: metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. The more elemental energy absorbed, the more potent the battle aura becomes. Lin Shen opened his eyes, his palms igniting with an orange-red flame of battle aura, which swiftly morphed into a lifelike golden lotus. My battle aura now possesses attributes. The power of my combat techniques will multiply manifold. Coupled with my physical strength, my combat efficacy has ascended to an incomprehensible degree. His gaze sparkled with intensity, as the enhancement from the Azure-grade mental technique was nothing short of terrifying. Without even employing any combat techniques, a mere display of pure battle aura was already comparable to his previous full-force execution of the 10,000 Thunderstrike sword. Should this formidable power be augmented by a top-tier green-grade combat technique far superior to the green-grade, Lin Chen's combat strength would undoubtedly soar by multiple folds. He continued to sit cross-legged upon the altar, the gradual fading of the runes alleviating the pressure in the vicinity. Time was of the essence, and he needed to act swiftly. The system informed me that I must cultivate the 3 esteemed green-tier martial techniques: the Soul-Seizing Spear Manual, the 4 Demon King's Seal, and the Wind, Thunder, and Fire Steps. The system cautioned the host that there is insufficient essence to fully master the specified 3 martial techniques. Thus, one of the techniques, either the Soul-Seizing Spear Manual or the 4 Demon King's Seal, cannot be perfected. Please make a selection. Not enough essence? Then I shall first master the Soul-Seizing Spear Manual, while any level of proficiency in the 4 Demon King's Seal will suffice. Beneath the altar, the sect leader observed Lin Chen standing atop the altar for quite some time, without any movement. Could there be some peril up there? Has this youth encountered misfortune? The sect leader furrowed his brow, only to suddenly notice that the oppressive aura emanating from the altar was gradually diminishing. The restrictions of the altar are beginning to crumble. As the sect leader contemplated rushing up to assess Lin Chen's condition once the altar's restrictions were lifted, Lin Chen's figure finally appeared at the top of the steps. With a leap through the air, Lin Chen returned before the sect leader in the blink of an eye. How is it? Are you unharmed? Did you discover anything or any treasures up there? The sect leader asked with rare excitement. Lin Chen, however, gently shook his head. Reporting to the sect leader, the altar was utterly devoid of anything. When I ascended, I was overwhelmed by that pressure and rendered immobile. Yet, for reasons unknown, that sensation began to dissipate after approximately a quarter of an hour, allowing me to descend. What? No treasure? This is inconceivable. The sect leader's gaze sharpened instantaneously, intent on uncovering the secrets that enveloped Lin Chen. However, Lin Chen was entirely empty-handed, lacking any concealed items, and a mere glance sufficed to ascertain this. Given his prior status as an outer sect disciple, he evidently had yet to attain the foundation necessary to possess a spirit-concealing ring. Strictly speaking, there was indeed nothing on the altar. The characteristic rune was visible and accessible solely to Lin Chen. In the face of the sect leader's gaze, Lin Chen remained neither servile nor arrogant, exuding an air of confidence that suggested he felt no apprehension towards his counterpart. Chapter 14. Escaping from the Divine Martial Sect. This young man surprisingly managed to maintain his composure under the scrutinizing gaze of our sect. Unlike before, he has undergone a transformation. The sect leader was taken aback and then solemnly inquired, "Why did your cultivation level continuously break through as you ascended?" "I do not know," Lin Chen replied. "I merely sensed a mysterious force infusing my body, guiding me to climb the altar, and beyond that, I remember nothing." He shrugged, having resolved to cunningly evade the question. With his current strength, Should the sect leader truly bear hostility towards him, he would not necessarily fear the confrontation. The sect leader scrutinized Lin Chen with a profound gaze before resuming his previous calm demeanor, nodding in acknowledgement. Perhaps you are destined to be connected with our divine martial sect. This may be an opportunity bestowed upon you by our ancestors. Cherish it. With a change of tone, the sect leader continued, Lin Chen, how do you feel our divine martial sect has treated you? Lin Chen was taken aback, then replied earnestly, as a discarded child taken in by Steward Su of the outer sect, the divine martial sect feels like a great family to me. Internally, Lin Chen scoffed, great family. Indeed, were it not for my sufficient strength, I would have long met an untimely demise in some forgotten corner, with no one to claim my remains. Oh, you possess such sentiment. Our sect is greatly pleased. However, since you regard the divine martial sect as your family, you should also contribute to it, should you not? The sect leader's amiable expression suddenly caused Lin Chen's heart to tighten. If your green tier alchemical hand seal could be transcribed and preserved within the divine martial sect, the contributions and reforms it would bring to the sect would be unprecedented. In exchange for your alchemical hand seal, our sect shall reward you with a spirit-nurturing ring, as well as grant you access to various treasures within our repository. What say you? Indeed, this cunning old fox is still fixated on my alchemical hand seal. Lin Chen instinctively took a slight step back, feeling a sense of caution. Should I confront him, or feign compliance for now? Very well. Contributing to the divine martial sect is also the aspiration of a disciple. Lin Chen resolved to feign compliance for the time being. Initiating conflict now would be more detrimental than beneficial to him. The sect leader, filled with delight, exclaimed, Excellent. I knew I had not misjudged you, my dear disciple. Accept this spirit-nurturing ring. Should you wish to select any secret techniques or treasures within the sect, simply inform me. Master, there is no time like the present. I wish to go now? Oh, very well. I shall escort you to the sect's treasury. The sect leader guided Lin Chen to several of the divine martial sect's most treasure-laden locations. Along the way, Lin Chen collected over 100 attribute orbs, and upon gathering the essence of techniques, he fully mastered the final combat skill, the Demon Slayer Four Kings Seal. He chose an abundance of rare herbs and materials for alchemy, as well as several advanced green-tier combat techniques, all of which were treasured relics of the divine martial sect. Subsequently, Lin Chen was assigned to a secluded chamber. 2 days later, within a chamber outside the Azure Cloud Hall of the divine martial sect, Lin Chen feigned the act of transcribing alchemical hand seals, while secretly cultivating his skills. They dare to confine me like a fool. How utterly Navi they are. He scoffed internally. The alchemical hand seals are not mere low-level combat techniques that can be documented with ink and paper. They require the recording of intricate incantations and hand gestures through mental fortitude, alongside a myriad of related information. Given Lin Chen's mental prowess, inscribing a single green-tier alchemical hand seal would take more than 4 years. This implies that he is to be imprisoned by the divine martial sect for over 4 years. The worth of a mid-level green-tier alchemical hand seal is beyond the value of the entire divine martial sect. This explains why the highest alchemical hand seals within the sect barely reach the yellow tier. Lin Chen is not one to remain passive. He is currently absorbing the last batch of battle energy essence, as the energy sea within his dantian begins to stir and split, heralding the emergence of a fourth-layer energy sea. In but a moment, Lin Chen officially ascended to the 4th layer of the Qi refinement realm. He activated the system. Host, Lin Chen Cultivation, 4th layer of Qi refinement limit strength, 2509 Tiger Force vital energy, 135884 points battle energy essence, 5425 3 points mental power, 4854 points cultivation essence, 3153 points mental technique, chaotic 5 spirits technique, 8 acquired techniques, thunderbolt sword art, heavenly spirit transformation technique, true water return technique, 10 soul snatching spear manual, 4 kings of demon combat seal, possessions, secret manuals windrunner shoes, 7-star soul snatching spear, possessing a bloodline, azure dragon bloodline, 45 points, characteristic rune, level 1 slowing rune, rune energy 500 points, elemental energy, fire 12, 451 points, earth 11, 771 points, wood 10, 225 points, metal 10, 489 points, water 10, 568 points. As my pure strength amplifies, the power surge brought forth by the liberation of my Azure Dragon bloodline concurrently intensifies. Moreover, The greater the number of elemental energy orbs I collect, the more assured my growth through my cultivation method becomes. It is time to depart from the divine martial sect. Lin Shun summoned the 7 stars soul-draining spear from the system. The spear was elongated, adorned with 7 resplendent star jades, and its blade shimmered with a ghostly azure hue. Aside from the treasures obtained from the chest, Lin Shun's system could not store any of his other possessions. He pushed open the door of the secret chamber, where 2 elders of the spirit communication realm stood guard. "Oh, Lin Shun, how did you emerge?" As the 2 elders pondered, Lin Shun's killing intent surged forth. Azure Dragon Bloodline Liberation. Boom, boom. The sound of 2 explosions filled the air, suffusing the atmosphere with a potent scent of blood, as carnage began to envelop the entire divine martial sect. Lin Shun had fled. What? Wasn't he the sect master intending to nurture him? Why has he escaped? The sect master issued an order to capture Lin Shun alive, at the mountainside of the divine martial sect. Numerous disciples observed the elders mobilizing in large numbers, leaving them bewildered and astonished at the unfolding situation. Whoosh! A fleeting shadow descended from the mountainside. 3 radiant sword glimmers slicing through the air, poised to strike the shadow before it. The shadow hesitated, then leapt into the air, and upon landing, all nearby disciples clearly discerned it was Lin Shun. The traitor Lin Shun had the audacity to attack the Elder Guardian. How could he betray the trust the sect leader placed in him? The 3 elders of the spirit connection realm unleashed their movement techniques, advancing with fierce reproaches. "Your cultivation is nothing but a facade. You covet my alchemical seals, attempting to imprison me for 4 years with mere herbs, seeking to usurp my alchemical skills. A pack of shameless old hounds. Leave now, and those who obstruct me shall perish." With palms pressed together, a blazing, tempestuous energy seal illuminated the surroundings. As Lin Shun struck towards the 3 spirit connection elders, Demon Fire King Seal, a colossal handprint of battle energy, accompanied by a searing wave of heat, surged forth, overwhelming the 3 elders, who were aghast at the terrifying skill this young man wielded. Boom! The energy seal exploded, creating a massive crater, while charred earth fell from the figures of the 3 elders who had been sent flying. All disciples stood in stunned silence. How could 3 elders of the first level of spirit connection be repelled so effortlessly by Lin Shun? Several high-quality attribute orbs burst forth from the elders' bodies as Lin Shun leapt into the air to seize them, ready to flee. "Lin Shun, we initially believed you to be a clever individual." A figure, as if conjured from the shadows, appeared atop the pavilion on the mountainside. It was none other than the sect leader of the divine martial sect. From his elevated position, he gazed down upon Lin Shun, his demeanor radiating confidence and arrogance as he surveyed the unfolding situation. With a dismissive gesture, the master chuckled. "Is it not a bother to unfasten one's trousers just to pass gas? If you desire my alchemical seal, come and take it." Lin Shun raised his middle finger, a smirk adorning his face. Yet, unbeknownst to others, he was subtly channeling the Azure Dragon bloodline. The realm of battle spirits was far beyond that of spiritual manifestation. Any attack Lin Shun could muster would struggle to shake the battle spirit realm. His only chance lay in an unexpected strike. Fiery Demon King Seal. Lin Shun unleashed a powerful palm strike, his aura intensifying, as a crimson energy handprint soared forth like a stampede of wild horses. This technique was at least a pinnacle green tier battle skill. Such a remarkable secret manual was not even possessed by my sect. "It seems you harbor many secrets, Lin Shun." With a cold smirk, the master waved his sleeve, and several white energy blades sliced through the air, effortlessly tearing apart Lin Shun's fiery Demon King Seal. Just then, the slowdown rune activated. Slowdown rune initiated. Remaining rune energy, 450 points. A grayish-white talisman erupted into existence, emanating ancient and obscure symbols, imbued with boundless mysteries, enveloping the area surrounding the master of the divine martial sect. His movements and attacks became agonizingly sluggish. "What is this?" The usually composed countenance of the divine martial sect master displayed a rare expression of shock and fear. With a thunderous roar, the air collapsed and howled, as Lin Shun surged forward like a blazing inferno. Before his opponent could react, his entire arm was cloaked in pale azure dragon scales, his fingertips transforming into dragon-like claws. The Azure Dragon bloodline was unleashed, a full tenfold of power. The ferocious and violent power surged like an enraged dragon's roar, with every scale gleaming with the ancient luminosity of the dragon lineage. Lin Shen struck forcefully upon the chest of the sect leader of Shenwu sect. A thunderous explosion resounded. The tempest rose, sweeping across the mountainside, as waves of energy detonated in the void. With a splatter of blood, the sect leader was violently forced back. The sound of cracking bones echoing from his chest, as he was propelled like a cannonball, flying 1,000 meters away. The force of Lin Shen's strike reached an astonishing 18,000 tiger strength. Such formidable power, akin to a warrior in the early stages of the Battle Soul realm, could grievously wound an opponent if they lacked adequate defense. As the sect leader was sent flying, 2 attribute orbs unexpectedly fell from his body, which Lin Shen casually caught. The host gains 235 points of battle essence and 968 points of mental energy. Upon landing, Lin Shen's complexion turned as pale as parchment. He hastily swallowed several recovery pills and activated the true water return technique, swiftly turning to flee down the mountain. The numerous disciples and elders present dared not impede his escape. Over 1,000 disciples stood frozen in shock, unable to comprehend what had transpired. The 25th sect leader of Shenwu sect, Su Qingfeng, a renowned warrior of the Battle Soul realm, had been repelled by Lin Shen, who was not yet 17. From the crowd, a whispered murmur of disbelief arose. Is this person even human? Chapter 15. You are all trash. Lin Shen dashed forward, plunging into the depths of the Qingxiao mountain range after descending the slopes. Within the mountains, he felt as if he had returned to his rightful domain, akin to a dragon soaring through the vast ocean. Here, an abundance of blood essence orbs awaited him, allowing Lin Shen to rejuvenate his injuries and enhance his combat resources at will. With this departure, should he encounter the divine martial sect again, he could effortlessly vanquish them with a mere flick of his wrist, rendering them inconsequential. After collecting a blood essence orb, a cold smile crept upon Lin Shen's lips. Without power, one remains a lamb awaiting slaughter, no matter the location. Aimlessly scavenging in this manner was not a viable strategy. It would be far more advantageous to seek out areas teeming with formidable individuals to gather superior blood essence orbs. Resolute in his decision, Lin Shen hastened along, casually picking up scattered blood essence orbs throughout the mountains. What piqued his curiosity was the absence of any elite members from the divine martial sect pursuing him. Given the intense animosity harbored by Elder Qi, a formidable figure at the 8th level of the spirit connection realm, one would expect him to be eager to personally capture Lin Shen. Unbeknownst to Lin Shen, on the day following his departure from the divine martial sect, within the grand hall of the sect, 2 exquisite figures stood at the center. The woman clad in green possessed eyes as clear as autumn waters, her delicate green earrings accentuating her fair and tender complexion. Her elegant brows resembled ink-painted distant mountains, while her oval face, reminiscent of a falling fish or a swan, bore a playful smile at the corners of her crescent-shaped lips. Another woman, with hair cascading down to her waist and a pair of violet eyes that shimmer like precious gemstones, exudes an ethereal elegance. It seems that merely gazing into her eyes brings a profound sense of tranquility to the soul. She is adorned with a purple veil, concealing her true visage. Yet, the nearly perfect proportions of her figure make one ponder the extraordinary beauty that lies beneath. More importantly, this lady emanates an innate sense of supreme nobility, a presence not artificially crafted, but rather a manifestation of a deeper, inherent grace. What do you two truly mean? Why must you destroy my sect? Su Qingfeng, the master of the divine martial sect, roared in extreme indignation, clutching his blood-soaked abdomen. He had been utterly incapacitated by the 2 enigmatic maidens with a single strike, executed with but a mere flick of their hands. We have received reports from the local populace regarding your wanton oppression of the common people, exorbitantly raising taxes, resulting in suffering for those within 1,000 miles. Such a sect is nothing but a scourge, the maiden in the azure robe cheerfully replied. This is what is known as acting on behalf of the heavens. Do you understand? You have one day to disband your sect, or else all the elders will meet the same fate as you. The woman in the purple veil interjected. Su Qingfeng gritted his teeth in fury, his eyes filled with rage. As a venerable master, he found himself repeatedly bested by mere juniors, having his cultivation utterly nullified. If he were to encounter his enemies now, it would indeed be a fate worse than death. Lin Shen, if it were not for you, if you, this wretched creature, had not inflicted injury upon me, I would not have been left utterly defenseless. Su Qingfeng emitted a mournful cry, tilting his head towards the heavens, and, in a fit of despair, drew a small dagger from his bosom, plunging it directly into his own heart, committing suicide on the spot. Sister, he has taken his own life. The girl in green looked at the elegant woman with confusion. Those who commit egregious acts will inevitably meet their demise. They have oppressed countless innocents, and such retribution is deserved. Yet, a gentle voice echoed softly within the hall. Who is Lin Chun? 5 days later, Lin Chun traversed 1,000 miles, departing from the Qingxia mountain range and officially entering the domain of the Qingyang Mountains. The Lingzhou wilderness is home to over 10,000 ancient mountains. Within some of these mountains lies the terrifying sight of numerous ancient relic species roaming freely. The number of ferocious beasts in the Qingyang Mountains far surpasses that of the Qingxia Mountains. And standing at the mountain's edge is an ancient city that has remained unchanged for a millennium. This city has long been inhabited by a multitude of cultists, exacerbating the perilous nature of the Qingyang Mountains. However, for Lin Chun, his stay here has yielded a wealth of attribute orbs, and the energy gained has elevated his physical power to an astonishing 3,600 tiger strength. A pure strength of 3,600 tiger strength is sufficient to shake the very foundations of the spirit connection realm. In terms of battle chi cultivation, Lin Chun has made remarkable progress, stepping into the 5th stage, with only one step remaining to reach the 6th stage of the chi refinement realm. The moonlight was cool. The outer regions of the Qingyang Mountains. Lin Chun had just vanquished a peak-level 2nd-tier infernal flame leopard and was planning to indulge in a barbecue that evening. As he prepared the campfire, distant screams pierced the air, accompanied by the lewd laughter of a man. You, don't harm my senior sister. I will call for help, the girl cried. Hee, scream all you want. Even if you shatter your throat, no one will come to save you. Lin Chun felt a wave of annoyance. It was astonishing that such Clich D lines still existed in this day and age. Just as he intended to ignore the commotion, he suddenly noticed a source of light resembling an attribute orb emanating from the direction of the screams. A glimmer of excitement ignited within him. Treasure awaited. With a determined leap, Lin Chun surged toward the luminous source. In the half-moon valley, bathed in moonlight, a group of blood-clad figures surrounded 4 graceful silhouettes. Leading them was a sword-wielding woman in a flowing gown, her lips stained crimson, and her snow-white legs enveloped in delicate silk. She exuded an air of icy elegance. Yet at that moment, her aura was weak, indicating she had sustained serious injuries. 3 young girls behind her trembled like frightened little rabbits. Marvelous, simply marvelous. This figure. I never expected to encounter a woman from the Yinxia sect here. I shall revel in this for a while longer. Ha! A youth clad in red emerged from the throng of blood-clad figures, his pallid visage and bloodshot eyes reflecting a sinister glee. If you dare lay a finger on senior sister Han, our master sister will surely not spare you. A white-clad girl burst forth from behind the sword-wielding woman, tears brimming in her eyes as she bit her lip, positioning herself protectively in front of her injured companion. You have all been captured. How could your esteemed senior sister know that it was my blood sect's commendable deed? Hee, what a charming little girl. Soon, dear brother will treat you with utmost affection. The young man in red surveyed the little girl, a lewd smile adorning his face. Qingyun, I will provide cover for you. You must take the junior sister and flee. The woman in the long dress spoke with a voice that echoed defiance in the face of death. The expressions of the 2 women behind her shifted slightly. Yet in response to such words, Sister Han Yin, you cannot. There is no time for hesitation. If we delay further, we will all perish. Just as the woman in the long dress prepared to fight desperately, a youthful laughter resonated from nearby. The night is splendid. We, the dashing ones, cannot help but be inspired. You, draped in yellow scrolls at night, await a bountiful year. All are free from cold and hunger. Such is the might that surges. At the slope of Half Moon Valley, the figure of a carefree young man emerged, interrupting the tense atmosphere. What nonsense is this? Who is this fool? Step aside. Dare to meddle in the affairs of my blood sect, and you shall meet your demise. The young man in red cast a dismissive glance at Lin Chun, waving his hand with scorn. In the air, a faint roar of wind and thunder could be heard, accompanied by flickering flames of ethereal movement. By the time they looked again, Lin Chun had positioned himself between both parties. If you cannot comprehend, simply take the first character of my previous words and read them together. Lin Chun raised an eyebrow and said with a teasing smile, the first character? You, draped in yellow scrolls at night, await a bountiful year. All are free from cold and hunger, such is the might that surges, like monkeys swinging in the trees. The refuse flows beneath the moonlit waters. Are you all mere refuse? Chapter 16. Remember, one must always have companions. One of the two elderly figures beside the young man in red immediately reacted, "Young master, this brat is insulting us. Damn it. Who dares to provoke the blood sect in the Qingyang mountain range? Seeking death. Let us eliminate this brat first." The young man in red cursed fiercely, and the surrounding 15 blood-clad individuals surged forward. Run. Taking advantage of the moment when everyone's attention was on Lin Shun, Han Yin suddenly shouted, sending her little junior sister and 2 other disciples away, then standing back-to-back with Lin Shun. "Young hero, I will never forget the life-saving grace you have bestowed upon me. You should escape now. I will cover you." Before she could finish her words, a glimmer of cold starlight flashed, and the 7-star soul-seizing spear was grasped firmly in Lin Chen's hand. Rain of spears. The 7-star soul-seizing spear emitted a series of afterimages as it shot forth from Lin Chen's hand. The sky was filled with cascading azure spear shadows, as if a tempest had descended, instantly piercing through all the advancing blood-clad figures. The battle aura defenses of all the blood-clad individuals were shattered in an instant, leaving them in eternal silence. A multitude of attribute light balls fell from the air, rolling onto the ground. What? Han Yin's beautiful eyes trembled slightly, her cold and stunning face revealing disbelief. 15 elite assassins above the 8th level of Qi refinement had been dispatched by this young man in a mere instant. This is bad. His strength is terrifying. Young master, we must retreat quickly. The elder in tattered garments beside the young man in red changed expression, urgently pulling the ladder to flee at high speed. Want to escape? It won't be that easy. The soul-snatching spear spun with ferocity as Lin Shun unleashed 30% of his azure dragon bloodline. With a fierce throw of his left arm, the spear shot forth like an arrow released from a bow. Whoosh! The spear tip streaked through the air like a falling star, swiftly driving the elder in the linen robe back. He quickly pivoted mid-air, his pale green battle aura surging with immense force, repelling Lin Chen's soul-snatching spear. "Young master, run. I will hold this rascal back." Flames danced as footsteps approached, and Lin Chen's figure materialized before the elder like a specter, his palm radiating a nearly tangible, scorching battle aura. Demon Fire King Seal. The vast and mighty battle energy surged forth like a raging tide, leaving the elder in shock. Lin Chen's ability to consecutively unleash such terrifying combat techniques was astounding. 1,000-layer rending palm. You dare to compare battle techniques with me? Demon Fire, Earth Seal. This. Young hero, spare. Spare you? Not a chance. Demon Fire, Golden Meteor Seal. The elder, a formidable figure at the 4th level of the Spirit Connection realm, was reduced to nothing more than a heap of flesh under Lin Chen's relentless barrage of 3 devastating techniques, unable even to plead for mercy. When the Blood Sect's young submaster and his personal aide were casually tossed before him like refuse, Han Yin could not help but gasp in surprise. Lin Chen's gaze fell upon the crystal pendant hanging from Han Yin's chest, and he couldn't help but exclaim in admiration, "What a magnificent piece!" Han Yin was momentarily taken aback, her cheeks flushing a deep crimson as she indignantly retorted, "Have you seen enough?" As Lin Shun beheld the enchanting yet angered maiden, he shook his head with a soft chuckle and pointed at her pendant, saying, "My apologies, fair lady, I was referring to the pendant you wear." Only then did Han Yin regain her composure, realizing her misunderstanding, and a captivating flush adorned her cool, exquisite cheeks. She removed the crystal pendant from her chest and turned her face away. "This is a keepsake from my mother. If the young hero desires it, I would not mind bestowing it upon you, for your life-saving grace shall never be forgotten." Lin Chen accepted the pendant, and only he could perceive the blue crystal within, rotating around a sphere of attribute energy. Placing his palm against the crystal pendant, he absorbed the attribute sphere contained within. The host gains 1,000 points of rune energy. To his astonishment, the attribute sphere within the crystal pendant could replenish Lin Chen's unique rune energy. Could it be that I can now freely employ a wave of delay runes? How fortunate, indeed. With a heart full of delight, Lin Shun returned the crystal pendant to Han Yin, feigning righteousness as he proclaimed, "My lady, you jest. How could I possibly claim another's cherished possession? I entreat you to keep it. I am but a lover of peace and wish no harm to befall anyone." Beside them, the 2 bound individuals twitched at the corners of their mouths, incredulous at such shamelessness. Just moments ago, This fellow had slaughtered their blood sect members without so much as a blink. Your benefactor is truly a paragon for our kind, Han Yin remarked with admiration. May I inquire your esteemed name? A nameless junior, Lin Chen replied. Lin Chen. As Lin Chen picked up the fallen attribute orbs, he waved his hand dismissively. The moment he collected all the orbs present, his cultivation reached the pinnacle of the 6th level of Qi refinement. With his absorbed vitality energy soaring to an impressive 3,955 tiger strength. After effortlessly dispatching the Elder of the Blood Sect with 3 strikes, a purple mysterious iron treasure chest dropped at his feet, which Lin Chen curiously opened. The host has obtained a fragment of the mysterious technique Taishir Holy Scripture. Note: the system is unable to ascertain the specific grade of this technique, as it is a mental cultivation secret. The host must collect the other 4 fragments of Taishir Holy Scripture to commence cultivation. Lin Chen was left utterly bewildered. He had stumbled upon a mental cultivation manual. Yet the system could not identify its precise grade. Lin Chen, what shall we do about these 2? Han Yin inquired. Her sword poised threateningly against the neck of the blood-clad youth, her silver teeth biting down lightly in apprehension. If you dare lay a finger on young Master Qin, the entire blood sect will descend upon Blood Sun City, pursuing you relentlessly for eternity. The blood-clad youth's old servant rasped, invoking the might of his faction to intimidate Lin Chen. Oh, the entire blood sect will mobilize? Lin Chen's eyes gleamed with interest as he approached the 2. Upon hearing that his sect would respond, young Master Qin regained his confidence and sneered arrogantly. Indeed, should I perish, the entire blood sect, from my father to the 4 esteemed elders, would mobilize. Our sect boasts 2 formidable warriors at the Battle Soul Realm. It would be wise for you to release them promptly. Young hero Lin, perhaps we should allow them to depart. The influence of the blood sect is formidable, and the Qingyang Mountains serve as their notorious stronghold. We cannot contend with them. Han Yin, clutching her wound, approached Lin Chen and whispered her counsel. To her astonishment, Lin Chen strolled towards the 2 with a smile as radiant as a blooming rose. Placing his hand upon young Master Qin's shoulder, he spoke with a profound tone. Young Master Qin, you must not deceive me. With that, he struck young Master Qin's dantian, shattering his energy reservoir, causing him to writhe in agony on the ground. Han Yan's face turned pale with shock, her beauty marred by disbelief. You have crippled young Master Qin? The old servant gazed at Lin Chen in disbelief as he replied with a cheerful demeanor. Quickly, take him back and summon everyone from the blood sect. Remember, the more, the better. I shall await you here, ready to challenge your entire sect alone. The old servant's jaw dropped, incredulity etched on his face. Madness. Utter madness. A mere youth, not even at the 6th level of Qi refinement, dares to proclaim a solo challenge against the entirety of the blood sect? Chapter 17. Unfairness. Without a moment's hesitation, the old servant swiftly scooped up the anguished young Master Qin and made a hasty retreat. Upon witnessing this, Han Yin intended to pursue them to eliminate future threats, only to realize that her injuries were too severe, rendering her unable to move. My dear girl, if you are injured, it is unwise to act recklessly. Lin Chen, with an air of calmness, offered Han Yin a pill and began to channel a stream of true water to stabilize her condition. Lin Chen, why have you incapacitated young Master Qin? Such actions will surely bring peril upon yourself. Han Yin exclaimed. No. I must quickly contact my junior sisters and alert them about our sect. Huh, what are you doing, Lin Chen? Han Yin observed Lin Chen leisurely preparing a campfire, seemingly untroubled. He retrieved the leg meat of the shadow flame leopard from his earlier hunt and began to roast it over the fire, smiling as he waved his hand. Such a person is a menace. Do not worry, Miss Han Yin. Regardless of their numbers, I shall eradicate them all. If you are fearful, you may leave at once. Just as Han Yin was about to respond, a group of graceful figures appeared in the valley. Han Yin, are you all right? Sister Han Yin, I was so worried I thought you were gone. The sisters from Yanzimen rushed to her side, and Han Yin was overjoyed. Blood Sun City. Blood Sect Headquarters. Today marks the day when the Blood Sect expands its influence and allies with various nefarious cults to form a formidable alliance. The Black Magic Sect, the Dark Soul Sect. 2 formidable factions converged at the headquarters of the Blood Sect, engaged in discussions regarding an alliance. Within the Grand Hall, a multitude of powerful figures sat in attendance. Master, something terrible has happened to the young master. An elderly servant rushed in breathlessly, his demeanor frantic. Is that you, Elder Yong? Do you not see that I am in the midst of negotiations with the two major sects? What brings you barging in unannounced? What has that reckless boy done now? The sect leader, a man in his 40s with hawkish features and an imposing presence, inquired with a calm yet authoritative tone. The young master has been incapacitated. Along with him, over a dozen assassins from our blood sect and Elder Tongxian have been slain. Boom. A surging wave of blood energy erupted, shattering the beams and flooring of the hall, causing fissures to appear. My son has been incapacitated? What on earth transpired? Who dares to lay a hand on the son of Qin Shan, Blood Sun City? Master, he is a young man at the 5th level of Qi refinement, with an unknown origin and formidable strength. Even Elder Tongxian fell to him after just a few exchanges. The elder's servant briefly recounted the events, causing the expressions of the representatives from the 3 major sects to shift dramatically. How dare he claim to challenge our entire blood sect? Does this boy seek to overturn the heavens? The sect leader's facial muscles twitched with fury. Gentlemen, due to this unforeseen incident, we shall postpone our discussions of the alliance. Allow me to confront this audacious upstart first. A delightful spectacle is about to unfold. Let us accompany and witness it. The leader of the Dark Soul sect, an elderly man clad in silver robes, chuckled ominously. Perhaps a disciple from some grand sect has ventured out to hone their skills, oblivious to the vastness of the world. How foolish it would be to provoke the blood sect. The master of the Black Magic Gate, a sinister figure in his 30s, licked his lips with anticipation. Summon all members of the blood sect, those above the Qi refining stage, to accompany me into the Qingyang Mountains. I wish to see which ignorant youth dares to seek their demise. In an instant, the atmosphere in Blood Sun City became tumultuous. What? He has incapacitated the young master of the blood sect and sent him back? In Half Moon Valley, over 20 female disciples of the Yinxia sect gazed in shock at Lin Shan, who was voraciously devouring roasted meat. Given the blood sect's formidable heritage, even a typical spirit combat stage warrior would not dare to provoke them. Could this young man truly be mad? The leader of the blood sect and the Grand Elder are formidable warriors at the spirit combat stage, and several other elders possess extraordinary power at the spirit communication stage. In a 1,000-mile radius, scarcely any force could stand against them alone. Young hero Lin Shun, I am profoundly grateful for your rescue of Han Yin and the others. But now is not the time for feasting, exclaimed Xia Ningyue, the leader of the Yinxia sect, a beautiful woman in her 30s, her tone sincere and urgent. I never engage in endeavors without confidence. Rest assured, I shall be fine. Lin Shun wiped his mouth hastily, grinning with nonchalance, even breaking into a song. Master, what shall we do? Han Yan, whose injuries have healed partially, anxiously inquired as she observed the situation unfolding. There is no need for concern. Although our Yinxia sect is a humble and obscure faction, we shall repay even the smallest kindness with immense gratitude. How much more should we honor a life-saving grace? We must remain here to assist the valiant Lin Shun, Xia Ningyue declared with unwavering determination, her gaze resolute. The female disciples exchanged glances, their silent communication echoing a steadfast resolve akin to rock. Your subordinate has incapacitated my beloved son, yet you sit here feasting on roasted meat and singing merrily. Truly, you are brazenly disregarding the dignity of my blood sect. A malevolent aura swept through the entire Half Moon Valley as hundreds of figures emerged, their eyes glinting with murderous intent directed at Lin Shun within the valley. Flattery will get you nowhere. My previous mentor often remarked that I possess an unexpected charm. But this is merely standard procedure. Remain calm, remain composed. Lin Shun nonchalantly wiped his hands, rising to his feet. With a flick of his toes, the 7-star soul, snatching spear twirled into his grasp. A formidable presence enveloped the valley, instilling terror in the hearts of all who beheld it. The female disciples of Yinxia sect instantly huddled together, bracing for what was to come. This is dire. We are not merely contending with the blood sect, but also the 2 malevolent sects of Blood Sun City, the Dark Soul sect and the Black Demon sect. Xia Ningyue's complexion shifted, realizing that with the convergence of these 3 wicked sects, even her status as a combat prowess practitioner might not suffice to ensure her survival today. Gaga. And look at all these young maidens. We shall divide them among ourselves later. I desire the smallest one. It appears so fresh and dewy, haha. I adore it. I truly do. Then I shall claim that sect leader, in their 30s, soaring through the clouds. I wonder what it feels like to drain their essence. A cacophony of lewd and sinister words echoed like the laughter of demons throughout the Crescent Valley, which instantaneously transformed into a hellish realm. Xiao Ningyue clenched her silver teeth, fully aware that if the Yinsha sect fell into the hands of the three great evil sects today, it would be a fate worse than death. Today, let us witness who meets their demise. Lin Shun flicked his nails, a hint of dragon's roar flickering in his pupils, while a green light shimmered on his left arm. Our sect thought you were boldly challenging the entire blood sect, believing there to be some ambush. Little did we know. You are merely a lone warrior accompanied by a gaggle of delicate maidens. Such audacity. Beneath the moonlight, the figures of the blood sect intruders leaped into the Crescent Valley. The leader of the blood sect, Qin Sha, upon seeing Lin Chen's relaxed and composed demeanor, was filled with indignation. His hand swirled with a bloodthirsty aura, suddenly reaching out towards Lin Shun, the withering demon hand. The anguished wails of countless souls reverberated throughout the Crescent Valley, coalescing into a massive, pitch-black, demonic hand aimed at Lin Shun. The sheer sound of those demonic wails was enough to drive an average warrior's spirit into madness. Qin Sha's strike was laced with murderous intent. Boom! The withering demon hand tore through Lin Shen's afterimage, shattering 10 zhong of space. Yet he remained elusive. A mere 6th-level Qi refinement cultivator evaded our sect's assault? Qin Sha was taken aback and abruptly glanced over 200 meters away, where Lin Shun was observing him with a teasing expression. Just as Qin Sha was about to make another move, Lin Shun suddenly raised his hand. Wait a moment. Upon seeing him raise his hand, the sinister sect's powerful figures were momentarily stunned. Could it be that this young man intends to surrender? It seems he is merely a braggart. In my approach to combat, I have always emphasized fairness, and once again, fairness. However, your current actions are nothing short of a blatant affront to my sense of fairness. Lin Shun pointed at all the members of the blood sect, enunciating each word with deliberate clarity. Chapter 18. Is it truly fair? Huh. Fairness? Ha. This young brother must have just emerged from obscurity, right? Do you expect us all to engage in a fair duel with you, one by one? Oh, come now, he is a genius. Having grown up in an environment of fairness, so surely the fight must be equitable. Ha. Is this fellow not a bit dim-witted? Ha. Have the younger generation become this Navi? Some nefarious practitioners of the dark arts burst into laughter, discussing fairness with such a sect. This is akin to a naked maiden seated on a bed, reasoning with a lecher who hasn't touched a woman in a decade. It is sheer folly to utter such words. Xiao Ningyue felt a bead of sweat form in her palm. Could it be that this young Master Lin truly is a flower sheltered within a greenhouse? Does he not grasp the gravity of the current situation? Qin Sha, in a fit of rage, responded with a mocking laugh. Today, I shall witness what kind of fairness you seek. I am a person of strong principles. I previously declared that I would challenge your entire blood sect, and it must be all of you, without exception. There is still an elder who has yet to arrive. I shall wait for him before I strike, lest I be accused of dishonesty and of bullying you. Lin Shun, brimming with confidence, patted his chest, while the crowd could hardly believe their ears. This fellow, a mere Qi refinement practitioner, boldly demands to single-handedly confront an entire sect and insists on waiting for everyone to gather before engaging, all the while claiming to fear accusations of bullying the blood sect? Who is truly bullying whom? Could it be that this fellow has lost his mind? How amusing, how delightful. In all my years, I have never encountered such an extraordinary oddity. Yet, judging by his recent evasion of Qin Sha's deadly grasp, his agility is not to be underestimated. However, let us not conflate agility with combat prowess. Did you not see how the blood sect has mobilized en masse today, with only the Grand Elder absent? Does this lad believe he can simply take flight? The numerous masters of the evil sect looked on in bemusement, some laughing so heartily that tears streamed from their eyes. Such peculiar individuals emerge each year, but this year is particularly remarkable. Then, Lin Shun, with utmost seriousness, addressed the members of the Yinxia sect behind him. Esteemed ladies, once they are assembled, I implore you not to intervene. Remember, I am a proponent of fairness to the utmost degree. Should anyone strike, I shall turn against them. Upon witnessing his naive and resolute demeanor, the women's faces paled slightly. It is over. This Lin Chen must truly be lacking in judgment. What a notion of fairness. I shall eagerly observe whether this lad can still conjure any surprises today. Qin Sha, filled with disdain, inquired of an elder beside him. Has the Grand Elder set out? Replying to the sect master, the Grand Elder is closely following our trail and should arrive shortly. The elder regarded Lin Shun with a gaze filled with mockery, as if watching a jester in his futile struggles. As the voice faded, a shadow darted through the half-moon valley like a wraith. swiftly infiltrating the blood sect's camp within mere breaths. Sectmaster, what is happening? The newcomer, a venerable elder with snow-white hair and fierce, piercing eyes radiating an aura of lethal intent, was none other than the blood sect's second-ranked warrior, the Grand Elder. Ah, Grand Elder, your arrival is most timely. Qin Sha clapped him on the shoulder and succinctly recounted Lin Chen's earlier display. The elder shook his head with a bemused smile, reflecting on the peculiarities that had emerged in recent times. This lad's agility is rather uncanny, and his mental prowess far exceeds that of an ordinary person. When the fight ensues, let us strike with concerted effort. I intend to make him suffer before my son's very eyes, transforming him into a blood slave. Qin Sha instructed, to which the Grand Elder responded with a cold nod. Well then, fair youth, your challengers have assembled. It is time for us to witness your prowess in single combat. Is it not? Ha ha. Outside the Half Moon Valley, spectators erupted into raucous laughter. Lin Chen nodded with satisfaction. Indeed, the 3 Grand Elders of the Blood Sect have gathered. Excellent. This is precisely what I demanded. Fairness to an unparalleled degree. In a flash, Lin Chen thrust his hands forward, and a grayish-white talisman descended from the heavens, unleashing an ancient divine power capable of suppressing the ages, momentarily halting the very fabric of space itself. Host activates the delayed rune, consuming 275 energy points. Everyone's demeanor abruptly froze, utterly captivated by the extraordinary scene unfolding before them. The elite assassins and elders of the Blood Sect were utterly horrified and filled with dread. They realized that their movements, as well as the flow of their battle energy, had become as sluggish as a tortoise, reduced to a fraction of their normal speed. The bloodline of the Azure Dragon was unleashed, wielding its full power. A fierce glint shone in Lin Chen's eyes as he activated the Azure Dragon arm, emitting radiant breaths of ancient dragons from the scales, unleashing a pure force exceeding 20,000 tiger powers. I shall annihilate you scoundrels. All of you shall perish. With the wind thunder fire steps executed to their utmost, Lin Chen's figure transformed into a blazing streak, propelled by the tempestuous might of wind and thunder. Launching a lightning-fast assault, he plunged into the throngs of the Blood Sect, unleashing a relentless barrage of strikes, the Azure Dragon arm resembling a fearsome dragon, bringing devastation upon all. His strength was capable of toppling mountains and bringing stars crashing down, crushing everything in sight. Bang, bang, bang. With each swing of the Azure Dragon arm, several individuals fell, all occurring within mere moments. Even the 2 elders of the 7th and 8th realms of the Spirit Connection, as well as Qin Sha, the Grand Elder of the 2nd and 1st realms of the Battle Soul, could barely muster a reaction. As they attempted to channel their battle energy for defense, Lin Chen's fist struck down upon their crowns, obliterating them into mere dust. Acquired 9577 points of vitality energy, 5,883 points of martial essence. Acquired 16754 points of battle essence, 1969 points of wood energy, 8,445 points of earth energy, 5,521 points of metal energy. The host obtained a brass treasure chest and a violet iron treasure chest. Upon opening the violet iron treasure chest, acquired Fragment 2 of the Sacred Scripture of the Primordial Beginning. Attribute orb soared through the air, cascading down to the ground. The energy surged in all directions, sweeping across the vast expanse. A tempest swept through the Crescent Valley, leaving behind nothing but a large pool of blood. All the members of the evil sect stood frozen in shock. Were they all dead? Had every single one of the Blood Sect perished? Not a single complete corpse remained. This was not merely a duel, it was a complete annihilation. A practitioner at the Qi refining stage had obliterated 10 at the Spirit Conduit stage, 2 at the Battle Soul stage, alongside dozens of elite assassins from the Qi refining stage. The female disciples of the Yinxia sect trembled, their pearly teeth chattering as they lightly covered their lips. Xia Ningyue's captivating eyes sparkled with wonder as she murmured, was that just now a technique resembling spatial confinement? Could it be that the young hero Lin Chen is a master of the celestial realm? How old could he possibly be? As the moonlight poured down, Lin Chen, drenched in blood, wore a confident smile that exuded an air of dominance. In this moment, he did not bend to collect the myriad attribute orbs scattered around him. Instead, he turned suddenly to face all the formidable foes outside the Crescent Valley. Those who met his gaze felt as though they had plunged into an icy abyss, the chill piercing to their very bones. Chapter 19. The Annihilation of the Evil Sect. Begone. With a single, nonchalant word, Lin Shen wielded the authority of a sovereign, leaving the formidable adversaries of the evil sect in a state of terror. It was utterly horrifying. With one move, he had vanquished the entirety of the blood sect's elite. Flee! Scatter! They cried. If he changes his mind and pursues us, we shall surely meet our demise. Truly, this was a one-on-one confrontation. This young man was a master of deception, far more cunning than I ever was in my youth. The two representatives of the evil sect outside the Half Moon Valley fled as if mad, lamenting the lack of additional limbs to aid their escape. The female disciples of the Yinxia sect gazed at the young man's silhouette, their beautiful eyes sparkling with admiration. With a single strike, he had obliterated an entire evil sect. And with but a word, he had sent the powerful oppressors of Blood Sun City, who had reigned for a century, into retreat. Such youthful vigor is a rarity indeed. Lin Shen felt a wave of relief wash over him, having exhausted the delay rune's power. He would need approximately another quarter of an hour before he could employ it once more. Should these evil sect members converge upon him, the outcome would be far from simple. He bent down and frantically gathered the myriad orbs of attributes scattered about, leaving the female disciples of the Yinxia sect in a state of perplexity. What could this Lin Shen be grasping at in thin air? His actions were decidedly peculiar and elusive. Is it not said that exceptional individuals often possess their own unique traits? I believe Lin Shen is indeed such a person. The young maiden seemed to have awakened an unexpected infatuation. Ah, senior sister, did you not just gaze intently as well? With the crisis averted, the ladies engaged in cheerful banter, their laughter resonating harmoniously. The host has successfully broken through to the 6th, 7th, and 8th levels of the Qi refinement realm. Lin Shen's recent annihilation of the blood sect has propelled him through 3 levels of cultivation, now stepping into the 8th level of the Qi refinement realm. The host has collected all fragments of the Taisher sacred scripture stored within the system, ready for cultivation at any moment. Having gathered all the attribute orbs, Lin Shen was immediately presented with a luminous screen from the system. Young Master Lin Shen, I did not anticipate such an extraordinary background and prowess. Today, Ningyue has truly been enlightened. May I inquire as to your esteemed master? Xia Ningyue approached gracefully, bowing slightly, her tone imbued with respect, a stark contrast to before. Lin Shen's previous display of skill had sufficiently attested to his remarkable origins. I am without a master, adrift like a leaf in the wind. My life entirely reliant on whims. I simply wish to be a reckless arsonist. Lin Shen gazed skyward at a 45-degree angle, melancholic yet elegant. An arsonist? He continued. I mean to ignite my charm among the young ladies of the world. Observe, a fire is already blazing brightly over there. Lin Shen winked at the female disciples of the Yinxia sect behind Xia Ningyue, who blushed in shyness, with a few audacious ones casting flirtatious glances in his direction. Xia Ningyue was momentarily speechless. Just a moment ago, this child had exuded the air of a master, yet in the blink of an eye, he became an arsonist. Master, why don't we invite Brother Lin Shen to join us? After all, he is not bound by any sect. The youngest disciple of Yinxia sect tugged at Xia Ningyue's sleeve, her eyes wide with a pleading innocence. No. Xia Ningyue's demeanor shifted dramatically, her expression turning grave. The founding principle of Yinxia sect is to unite female warriors in independence, not to serve as appendages to men. If we were to allow Lin Shen to join, it would be utterly inappropriate. The white-clad girl immediately retreated to her senior sister's side. Little sister, rest assured, your brother has no intention of joining any sect. Moreover, I hold great admiration for sect master Xia's aspirations. Since time immemorial, who has decreed that women are inferior to men? Women hold up half the sky. Lin Shen smiled brightly, causing Xia Ningyue's gaze to flicker momentarily, becoming even more radiant as she murmured, women hold up half the sky. Speaking of which, the blood sect must possess considerable wealth. If your Yinxia sect does not mind, I could accompany you to raid their stronghold as well. Lin Shen's suggestion ignited a spark of excitement among the women. In Blood Sun City, chaos erupted as the strongest tyrant, the blood sect, had just suffered a catastrophic downfall. Such an unprecedented calamity had not occurred in centuries, and it was brought about by a mere youth. At the blood sect's headquarters, a vast and imposing estate. Shouts of grab it. This is a green tier secret manual. And this silver dragon spear is mine. Ha ha ha, echoed through the halls. In the midst of a fierce battle among numerous heretical sect members, The air was filled with the cacophony of slaughter as they vied for the remaining resources and assets of the blood sect. With a resounding crash, the walls were shattered by an explosive force, and a group of elegant figures alongside a young man clad in silver robes suddenly materialized within the estate. "Hold your ground. This is a robbery," commanded Lin Shun, his voice resonating like thunder, instantly intimidating all the marauding warriors. Many recognized him at once. Yes, it's him, the young man who single-handedly confronted the heretical sects. Good heavens, with his background, could he possibly covet the trivial possessions of the blood sect? Sensing the gravity of the situation, some of the heretical members attempted to flee, but Lin Shun decisively struck out with a palm, incapacitating one of them with a single blow. "For heaven's sake, do you not understand human language? This is a heist. Return what you've stolen." With a swift motion, Lin Shun clapped his hands, and those present witnessed the sheer power of the young man as he left two transcendent experts in a state of near death, instilling terror within the hearts of the others, who promptly surrendered to save their lives. With a resounding thud, the ground trembled as yet another group invaded the headquarters of the blood sect, led by two individuals who bellowed defiantly, "Clear the area for the Black Demon sect. All you filth, get out. Do you think you have the right to touch the possessions of the blood sect? Those who do not leave will have their innards extracted to forge demon crystals. I am eager to see which fool dares to compete with the Black Demon sect for." "Oh, is that you?" The two leading practitioners of the malevolent sect, at the 7th level of the spirit communication realm, were utterly taken aback upon seeing Lin Shun, as if they had encountered a ghost. Their legs turned to jelly, and their teeth chattered in fear. Lin Shun, with a benign smile that belied his intentions, turned around and cheerfully inquired, "My good sir, what was it you just said? The wind was rather loud, and I couldn't hear you. Shall I grant you an opportunity to rephrase your words? Damn it. How did we cross paths with this harbinger of doom?" The earlier scene where Lin Shun single-handedly annihilated the blood sect was still vivid in their minds, and those from the Black Demon sect, having witnessed Lin Shun's prowess, were paralyzed with terror. The chill emanating from the young man's smile sent shivers down their spines, prompting one of them to immediately kneel and wail, "Esteemed young hero. Noble sir, handsome gentleman. I spoke foolishly a moment ago. Please show mercy and spare us, treating us like a stray dog. Oh, the way you address me as handsome gentleman is quite pleasing, yet individuals like you, who so easily resort to disemboweling others, should remain here since fate has brought us together." With the awakening of his azure dragon bloodline, Lin Shun struck down both men with a single palm, his ruthless decisiveness leaving all present in a state of shock. As Lin Shun unleashed his wrath, the remaining practitioners of the Black Demon sect could no longer contain their terror and scattered in all directions. In a sudden motion, Lin Shun grasped his spear, and with a swift display of agility, blood splattered across the ground, leaving no one unscathed. Chapter 20. The Mysterious Girl. If the opponent were merely ordinary warriors, it would be one thing. However, these were practitioners of a sinister sect, their martial arts imbued with brutal and arcane principles. To slay one would equate to saving 100 or even 1,000. Lin Shun bore no psychological burden as he unleashed a massacre. A multitude of attribute orbs rained down upon the ground, which Lin Shun swiftly collected with his wind, thunder, and fire steps. The remaining practitioners of the evil sect, witnessing the seemingly innocuous youth act with such ferocity, hastily surrendered all their possessions. The numerous practitioners of the Yinxia sect were elated to see the wealth of martial arts, rare treasures, and weapons being handed over. With this newfound bounty, the Yinxia sect would surely flourish at an accelerated pace. Even the Anhun sect, upon hearing that Lin Shun had entered Shuiyang City, mistakenly believed he intended to eradicate them completely, prompting them to flee the city under the cover of night, leaving only a handful of novice disciples behind. Most of the blood sect's resources were gifted to the Yinxia sect by Lin Shun, for he had already acquired the most vital treasure, the runic energy contained within the pendant of Han Yin and the Taishur Holy Scripture. At dawn, at the gates of Shuiyang City, "Brother Lin Shun, are you truly not coming with us?" The little girl in white clung to Lin Shun's leg, her bright, shimmering eyes filled with reluctance and dependence. "Little Brother Lin Shun has a far more important mission to undertake. This task is one that no one but him can accomplish," Lin Shun said, gently ruffling Ro-Or's silky hair with a soft chuckle. "What is this mission? Can you tell Ro?" The young girl innocently inquired, while Lin gazed upward at a 45-degree angle, feigning melancholy. "In this world, There are countless displaced young women in need of my salvation. As the saying goes, if I do not descend into hell, who will? If handsomeness is a sin, then I am beyond redemption. Before Lin Shun could finish his words, a series of melodious laughter erupted beside him, the women of the Yinxia sect giggling with abandon. The little girl, Rower, grasped the situation only partially, yet she enthusiastically waved her tiny fists, cheerfully cheering him on. You must do your best, brother Lin Shun. Even Lin Shun could not help but smile. This little girl was truly adorable. Meeting the young hero Lin Shun was an honor for us at the Yinxia sect, and we hope that the rivers and mountains will allow us to meet again. Xia Ningyue clasped her fists solemnly and declared. Lin Shun mounted the dragon horse he had seized from the blood sect, waving his hand without looking back, laughing heartily. Born amidst the myriad of mortal troubles, once one enters the martial world, everything transforms. Battling against the heavens is an endless joy, yet how many have truly endured through the ages? The youth galloped away, leaving behind a silhouette that captivated the women, causing them to linger long after he had departed. 2 days later, in Blood Sun City, the leaders of the Black Demon sect and the elders of the Dark Soul sect received word of Lin Chin's departure and only dared to return to Blood Sun City after 2 days. At the city gate, the high-ranking members of the Dark Soul sect and Black Demon sect had just returned. Damn it, that plague has finally left. Fortunately, we made our escape in time. In the future, each of you must exercise greater caution. If our dark magic sect encounters such youngsters, even 10 lives would not suffice. At the moment, the 2 leaders of the malevolent sects were reprimanding their subordinates. Yet suddenly, terror filled the eyes of their followers. Sectmaster, behind you. A swift, piercing sword energy penetrated the bodies of the 2 malevolent sect leaders, causing them to kneel and collapse, their cultivated battle essence shattered in an instant, leaving them devoid of any power to resist. You are the infamous Dark Soul sect, Blood sect, and Dark Magic sect, notorious for extracting the very essence of life from others to cultivate blood slaves. How effortlessly you have gathered here, a congregation of the most vile and malevolent beings. 2 stunning figures, one clad in purple and the other in blue, descended gracefully before the gates of Blood Sun City, appearing almost ethereal. Battle Soul Realm? A mere 16 years of age? The 2 leaders of the malevolent sects exclaimed in unison, overwhelmed with astonishment. Who were these extraordinary young ladies, possessing such unparalleled talent at such a tender age? May I inquire who you are? You are not worthy to know our identity. Prepare to perish. The young woman in green, with delicate fingers as sharp as a blade, pointed at her adversaries, and one by one, members of the malevolent sect fell before her. Witnessing this spectacle, the scattered martial practitioners of the dark sect nearby felt their hearts sink, hastily retreating in alarm. What has become of the youth of today? How is it that each of them possesses strength akin to that of a monster, rendering life unbearable? A mere 15 minutes later, the nefarious sects of Blood Sun City were thoroughly eradicated. Either incapacitated or slain, all perished. At the heart of Blood Sun City, within the ruins of the Blood Sect headquarters, 2 enigmatic women gazed upon a conspicuous banner, their expressions betraying their astonishment for the first time. The greatest commander under heaven and earth, Lin, a man who specializes in rectifying all forms of defiance, traverses the skies and the earth without the need for flight, leading a life adrift solely through whimsy. Perplexed by the banner, the 2 women seized a wandering martial artist from a distance, demanding, "What is the meaning of this? Please, do not kill me. That was left by young Master Lin Shin just 2 days ago." The captured martial artist, thoroughly terrified, pleaded for mercy. Lin Shin, the mysterious woman clad in purple, mused, a slight furrow appearing on her brow, as if the name was somewhat familiar to her. "Why has the blood sect vanished? Explain the circumstances, and I may spare you." The girl in green feigned a menacing demeanor, exuding an irresistible charm, yet to the wandering martial artist, her expression resembled that of a demon's threat. The man recalled with a shudder that was a matter from 2 days prior. He proceeded to divulge the entire account of Lin Shin. And as the 2 women exchanged glances, curiosity flickered in their eyes for the first time. In the 5th stage of the Qi refinement realm, a single strike could annihilate all members of the blood sect. How intriguing. Meanwhile, Lin Shun had departed from Blood Sun City 5 days prior, accompanied by a dragon horse, traversing 10,000 miles daily, journeying from the Qingyang mountain range to the city of Wanling in the desolate lands. The setting sun resembled blood, and on a broad avenue, Lin Shun galloped, eyes closed, allowing the dragon horse to race freely. He was accessing the system to assess his various attributes. Host, Lin Shun Cultivation Level, 8 Stage of Qi Refinement Maximum Strength, 4950, 7 Tiger Power Vital Energy, 264,594 points Martial Essence, 144,593 points Mental Strength, 11,588 points Cultivation Technique Essence, 0 points Heart Method. Chaotic 5 Spirits Technique, 14, Learn Techniques, 10,000 Thunder and 1,000 June Sword Technique. Heavenly Spirit Alchemy Technique, True Water Return to Origin Technique, 13. Soul Seizing Spear Manual, for Kings of Demon Combat Seal. Taishur Sacred Scripture, 1. Possessions, Secret Manual 7-Star Soul Seizing Spear Bloodline. Azure Dragon Bloodline, 45 points. Characteristic Runes, Slow Rune, Level 1. Rune Energy 1175 points. Elemental Energy, Fire 24481 points. Earth 25752 points. Wood 28215 points. Metal 27825 points. Water 35248 points. Indeed, the Taishur Sacred Scripture is remarkably powerful. I have only practiced for 4 days. Yet my mental attributes have surged by over 1,000 points. Lin Shun was overjoyed. The mental attribute was the most challenging for him to enhance. And now he had stumbled upon a mysterious technique dedicated to cultivating mental prowess. However, he soon felt a hint of frustration, for the essence required by the Taishur Sutra was exceedingly immense. Previously, he had eradicated more than 40,000 essence fragments from the blood sect and other malevolent sects, dedicating them all to the cultivation of the Taishur Sutra, yet he had barely achieved a proficiency of 1%. This indirectly indicated the extraordinary caliber of the Taishur Sutra, which stood as the highest tier among all the techniques Lin Shun possessed, to the extent that even the system could not ascertain its grade. Chapter 21. I am the astute Lin Shun, known in the realm as Shirliji. When the boat reaches the bridge, it will naturally straighten out. Let us proceed step by step. First, I shall find a place to settle in Wailing City and take a well-deserved rest. Lin Shun stowed away the system and unfolded the map. Wailing City enjoys a prominent status even within the wilderness, being a colossal metropolis with a population exceeding 100 million, replete with countless martial art civilizations and ancient families. As Lin Shun approached the outskirts of Wailing City, he was met with a sight that would astound any worldly observer. A magnificent behemoth with dozens of city gates standing in parallel, its towering walls reaching hundreds of meters high, resembling a colossal dragon coiled majestically, exuding an overwhelming grandeur. It is said that Wailing City is home to powerhouses beyond the earthly fiend realm. Indeed, such claims are not unfounded. Lin Shun entered the city on horseback, navigating through 3 layers of inspections and information registrations before finally gaining entry. He sought a suitable place to settle down. As his stomach let out a low growl, he noticed the sky growing darker. While galloping through the streets in search of an inn, he suddenly spotted a violet golden beam of light shooting skyward from the western part of the city, steady and unyielding. This resplendent beam seemed to elude the notice of any martial artist within the city, as if it were non-existent. Such brilliance must emanate from an attribute orb. Goodness! What kind of attribute orb could possibly emit such intense radiance? Lin Shun's mouth fell agape, disregarding his ravenous hunger as he galloped away, hastening towards the direction of the resplendent purple-golden pillar. The vast expanse of Wanling City left Lin Shun in awe. It took his steed a good half-hour to reach the vicinity of the luminous column. Following the beam of light, Lin Shun arrived before a grand and opulent mansion, from which the pillar of light ascended, lingering in the air. However, the mansion was heavily guarded. There were formidable experts at the spirit-linking realm stationed at the entrance, making it nearly impossible for Lin Shun to approach, let alone enter. Damn it, I must obtain that precious attribute orb. Lin Shun's resolve hardened as his eyes narrowed. He believed that infiltrating the mansion to seize the orb would not prove overly challenging. He secured his steed at a nearby tavern, donning a fresh blue robe, with several roulette wheels hanging at his waist and holding a flag in one hand, resembling a fortune teller. Just as he completed his disguise, a luxurious white carriage glided past the mansion's entrance, causing Lin Shun's eyes to glimmer with excitement. Here was his opportunity. A strikingly elegant lady stepped down from the carriage, adorned in a soft yellow gown. Her skin was as smooth as jade, and her bright, star-like eyes radiated an air of nobility combined with an innate grace. Most intriguingly, Her enchanting eyes sparkled with a hue of purple gold at the edges of her pupils, an extraordinary sight indeed. Ah, dear lady. The dark mist swirling around your brow reveals that both you and your family are beset by various misfortunes and calamities, as I, the fortune teller, have discerned. Lin Chen leaned on his flag, approaching the woman in a somewhat enigmatic manner. Halt! Who dares to approach Miss Shangwan Bihan uninvited? Two towering guards of the 9th rank in the spirit realm immediately positioned themselves before Lin Chen, their voices stern and commanding. Observing this, Lin Chen couldn't help but sigh. The strength of the Wanling city was indeed formidable, as even individuals of such caliber served as protectors for others, underscoring the remarkable prowess of martial arts in this realm. Please, no need for hostility. I am but a fortune teller, Lin Chen, famed in certain circles as Shirleji. My side venture? An arsonist with a penchant for igniting the hearts of women. With a mischievous grin, he gestured toward his flag. A fortune teller is an exceptionally rare profession in the Jiuzhou continent, even more uncommon than an alchemist. A fortune teller can discern the potential destinies of individuals through their unique methods and mental disciplines, foreseeing the intricacies of fate. The stronger the fortune teller, the more profound the matters they can unravel. Miss Shangwan Bihan furrowed her delicate brows. Her gaze fell upon Lin Chen's flag, which boldly proclaimed titles such as fortune teller, heart arsonist, and designated solo champion. She couldn't help but smile. Perhaps this was yet another charlatan who had heard of the Shangwan family's plight and decided to impersonate a fortune teller. Kindly escort him away. Remember, do not resort to violence. As for you, my friend, I hope you will refrain from impersonating a fortune teller in the future. Bihan has never encountered such a youthful practitioner in this craft. Having spoken, Shangwan Bihan gracefully turned on her heel and took delicate steps towards the mansion. Although her cultivation of the heart method had reached a profound level, she recently felt as though she had made no progress. At that moment, Lin Chen suddenly spoke, causing Shangwan Bihan to halt abruptly. The fact that she had reached a bottleneck in her cultivation was a recent occurrence, one that she had never divulged to anyone, not even to the elders of her family. How did he know? How could you possibly be aware of this? Are you truly a diviner? Shangwan Bihan's enchanting eyes shimmered with an unusual golden-purple light, as if attempting to peer into Lin Chen's very soul. Lin Chen allowed her scrutiny, wearing a faint smile that suggested an air of mystery, and continued, If I do not intervene, you shall perish within half a month. If you doubt my words, I invite you to circulate your battle energy and press your finger against your vital acupoint to see for yourself. Shangwan Bihan, torn between belief and skepticism, summoned a wisp of pale blue battle energy with her fingertip and pressed it against the acupoint located behind her delicate shoulder. A surge of violent energy rushed through her, causing her to immediately withdraw her finger, her heart racing with trepidation. Had she pressed any further, the chaotic energy could have posed a grave threat to her life. How could this be? Even the foremost fourth-tier alchemist in Wanjing City had praised her innate talent and excellent constitution. How could there be such a peril lurking within her? Shock and bewilderment flooded Shangwan Bihan's expressive eyes as she cast another glance at Lin Chen. Before long, Lin appeared, swaying his head, occasionally sighing and gazing skyward at a 45-degree angle, resembling a master in demeanor. Alas, it seems this master must take his leave. I intended to perform a noble deed, yet I have been mistaken for a swindler. With that, Lin feigned turning to depart. Master, please stay, urged Shangwan Bihan, hastily calling him back. Lin immediately pivoted, adjusting his collar and clearing his throat. What is this? Does the young lady wish to believe in this charlatan? Master, you jest. It is I who fails to recognize the true greatness before me, she replied, bowing gracefully, her tone imbued with respect. Such treatment is rare in the entirety of Wanling City. Just then, a loud and unrelenting growl erupted from Lin Chen's stomach, interrupting his attempt to utter profound words to elevate his stature. Shangwan Bihan stifled a laugh, her enchanting eyes sparkling like autumn waters, and playfully suggested, It seems even masters are not immune to earthly desires. Shall we head to the residence? Then I humbly request Miss Shangwan to lead the way, Lin Chen replied, unabashedly clearing his throat, while he took the initiative to stride ahead. Chapter 22, Master Shirleji. The residence of the Shangwan family, the Blue Courtyard. In a spacious living room, an array of delectable dishes was served, as Lin Chen devoured them with abandon, utterly devoid of the demeanor one would expect from a master. After satisfying his hunger, he patted his belly, picked at his teeth, and stretched comfortably with a languid yawn. Shangwan Bihan, possessing considerable poise, patiently waited until Lin Shun had finished before inquiring. Master Shirluji, may I ask how my problem can be resolved, and which elixir should I take to alleviate it? Lin Shun, in a relaxed manner, waved his hand and replied, Extend your hand, and I shall feel it. Naturally, I can assist you in resolving it. Upon hearing this, Shangwan Bihan's expression shifted slightly. Having been raised in a strict household, opportunities for her contemporaries to even catch a glimpse of her were rare, let alone allowing a young man to touch her. Even this occasion, when she brought Lin Shun into her residence, was accomplished through a secret passageway, discreetly bypassing the main entrance. Master, could we perhaps consider an alternative method? This approach is rather inconvenient for me, Shangwan Bihan requested, visibly troubled. I have no other methods at my disposal. If you are unwilling, then seek assistance elsewhere. This is not a matter that can be resolved merely through the consumption of an elixir. Otherwise, the esteemed alchemists around you would have already discerned it. Lin Shun shrugged, preparing to rise. Shangwan Bihan hesitated, caught in a dilemma. Should I overstep any boundaries? Rest assured that the gentleman behind the curtain, who is protecting you, will certainly intervene. Moreover, it is akin to a customary greeting in my homeland. Casting a casual glance at a nearby window, Lin Shun feigned a profound smile. Since earlier, he had sensed a powerful aura closely guarding Shangwan Bihan, far surpassing the two ninth-tier spirit realm bodyguards. If you are unwilling, I shall take my leave. Despite the delectable dishes here. Noticing Shangwan Bihan's indecision, Lin Shun stoked the flames of urgency for her to make a choice. As anticipated, upon Lin Shun rising, Shangwan Bihan pursed her crimson lips. Master, can you guarantee that today's events remain confidential? Otherwise, it may tarnish Bihan's reputation. Lin Shun couldn't help but roll his eyes. Such a trivial touch could impact her reputation. Truly, the Shangwan family held themselves in high regard. Just look at my handsome visage. It is evident that I am the type who keeps secrets. Without further ado, he urged, let us attend to the matter at hand. Extend your hand. With a chuckle, Lin Shun watched as Shangwan Bihan's delicate form trembled slightly before she reluctantly rolled up her sleeves, revealing her fair, pristine arm before him. Raising his palm, Lin Shun's fingers clasped her tender hand, causing her to shiver as if electrified. Goodness, Miss Shangwan is indeed as delicate as water, Lin Shun marveled inwardly. Yet he sensed an undercurrent of menace locking onto him. Any untoward actions on his part would likely provoke the hidden formidable presence lurking in the shadows. With his eyes closed, Lin Shun channeled his mental energy. Within his field of vision, attribute orbs, each the size of a thumb, swiftly integrated into his being. Host has acquired 1578 points of water energy, 3,498 points, 9,487 points. Unperturbed by the luminous screen that the system had conjured, Lin Shun swiftly extracted the attribute orbs that had emerged from Shangwan Bihan's body, releasing them after merely 2 breaths. Huff! It's done, he feigned exhaustion, adding, as long as I replicate today's procedure a few more times, and subsequently disperse a portion of your martial energy, you can avert future lethal threats. Shangwan Bihan, pressing her fingertip against her pulse point, noted a significant reduction in her discomfort. Confusion mingled with concern as she inquired, why must we disperse the energy? If I relinquish the martial energy cultivated through my techniques, my cultivation will regress, a price that few can endure. If I am not mistaken, Miss Bihan, you belong to a lineage of exceptional bloodlines. The blood within you harbors the unique abilities and traits of your ancestors, does it not? Indeed, she affirmed with a nod. Our Shangwan family possesses a hereditary ocular technique. Precisely. The potential and energy within your bloodline will reach a new zenith in half a month's time. The martial techniques you practice are of a higher tier, and as your mastery deepens, it will increasingly alter your physique, roots, and even your bloodline. The conflict between these forces could have dire consequences, had you not encountered me. Lin Shun's explanation left Shangwan Bihan both astonished and perplexed, prompting her to inquire anxiously. However, the mental cultivation methods of her ancestors had been practiced to great heights, seemingly without jeopardizing their lives. It is precisely because their bloodline cannot compare to yours that such a situation did not occur. Lin Shun's words awakened her from her reverie, even drawing out the mysterious powerful figure lurking in the shadows. Ah, Bihan, I understand now, the gray-clad old servant interjected. What the master refers to must be the rare second awakening of the bloodline within the Shangwan family. Our lineage has not witnessed such an occurrence for a millennium. At last, we are poised for resurgence, a timely boon indeed. The old servant extended his congratulations to Shangwan Bihan. His previously guarded demeanor towards Lin Chen now softened. I sincerely apologize for my earlier actions towards the master. Lin Chen merely smiled nonchalantly, recognizing that their family possessed such a precious treasure, and he could understand their excessive protectiveness. I might actually experience a second awakening of my bloodline, Shangwan Bihan exclaimed with excitement. If that were the case, the cost of dispersing her mental cultivation would become negligible. Within the resource-rich Shangwan family, any loss of cultivation would swiftly be replenished. Lin Chen's ability to perceive the attribute orbs allowed him to discern the condition within Shangwan Bihan, had he not intervened. It is likely that no one in Wanjing City could have rescued her when the matter came to light. Lin Chen then realized that the hall was filled with numerous high-quality attribute orbs. He promptly approached, bent down, and picked them up, leaving the two onlookers in confusion. Why was this master suddenly flailing about in the air of the hall? Master Shirleji, what are you doing? I am merely offering my services to assess the feng shui and fortune of the Guo family, he replied earnestly. The feng shui here is rather poor. Lin Chen spoke with an air of gravity, causing both individuals to perk up with interest. Master, can you truly discern that? The gray-clad old servant inquired with unusual excitement. Well, I can perceive a few clues, Lin Chen feigned modesty, nodding slightly. Just as the two exchanged glances and prepared to speak, hurried footsteps echoed from outside. Bihan, are you in there? I heard from Aunt Lu that you brought someone back. Where are you? As the urgent footsteps reached the door, the visitor forcefully pushed it open. 3 figures entered, the foremost being a young gentleman in white, elegantly wielding a white feather fan. He was strikingly handsome, appearing no older than 24 or 25. Upon catching sight of Lin Chen, the young man in white immediately exclaimed, "Who is this wild brat, and what is he doing in Bihan's loft?" Chapter 23. The Shangwan family young master. You must not be disrespectful towards the master. Shangwan Bihan firmly positioned herself in front of Lin Chen, admonishing the young man in white. The young man's expression shifted slightly. Since his arrival in this family, his cousin had never dared to address him in such a manner. What nonsense about a master? Cousin, do not be deceived. Have you ever seen a master who is still in the throes of adolescence, lacking even the maturity of a grown man? Seeing his cousin protect this youth, the young man was consumed with jealousy and scornfully berated. My hair has grown in just fine. If you doubt it, take a look. Lin Chen provocatively leaned closer to Shangwan Bihan, playfully tugging at his own hair and winking at her with a mischievous grin. The 2 guards accompanying the young man could only shake their heads in disbelief. How could this impudent lad be considered a master? Young Master Qingyu. Master Shirleji is a guest and a skilled fortune teller whom I have invited. If you do not show the proper respect, Bihan will certainly report you to the Grand Elder. Shangwan Bihan, usually poised and graceful, stood her ground with unwavering determination, confronting the young man. And he is merely a fortune teller? Then I must be the king of heaven. The young man seethed with jealousy, irritated by the way this upstart flaunted his closeness to Bihan. You do not believe me? Young master, perhaps you should refrain from excessive indulgence. It seems your vitality is nearly depleted by women. If you doubt my words, try channeling your energy to your Shunke acupoint and see what happens. Lin Chen chuckled softly, just as the young man in white was about to retort. Young Master Qingyu, you might as well heed the master's advice. Should he truly be the esteemed sage summoned by Miss Bihan, you cannot afford the consequences. The old servant in gray spoke with indifference. The young man in white cast a wary glance at him, then smirked coldly. Very well, I shall see what manner of master this is. He slightly closed his eyes, channeling his battle energy, and swiftly located the position of the Shunyu acupoint. The instant the energy surged into the point, the muscles in the young man's face contorted painfully, rolling on the ground in agony. It hurts. My kidneys. This scene left even the 2 accompanying guards in shock. What is happening? Now you understand the master's prowess, remarked Shangwan Bihan with a hint of detachment. Indeed, the day is waning. I am aware that you wish to discuss matters with me, but I, as the master, have overexerted myself today and require a proper rest. Lin Chen cleared his throat lightly, prompting Shangwan Bihan to quickly respond. I shall arrange accommodations for the master immediately. Rest assured, I will keep tonight's matters between us confidential. Lin Chen deliberately whistled playfully in front of the young man in white. With a blush painting her cheeks, Shangwan Bihan's delicate face turned crimson as she softly uttered. Then I thank the master. What? Tonight's matters between the 2 of us? As the gaze of the youth in white beheld the shy demeanor of Shangwan Bihan, an inferno of jealousy ignited within his heart. When his two guards assisted him to rise, Lin Chun and Shangwan Bihan had already distanced themselves. As his pain gradually subsided, he cast his eyes upon Lin Chun's departing figure. How dare a mere boy lay hands on a woman of Nangong Qingyu? I shall make you pay dearly for this. Damn it, the pain is unbearable. Shangwan Bihan personally arranged Lin Chun's accommodations, and during the journey through the courtyard, Lin Chun observed numerous attribute orbs, yet he refrained from hastily collecting them. He understood that he had successfully infiltrated this place under the guise of a calculator. Those attribute orbs were already within his grasp. The crucial matter was how to approach the direction of that resplendent golden pillar. Within a splendid guest chamber, the air was infused with the fragrance of sandalwood incense. Lin Chun sat cross-legged upon the bed, forming mysterious hand seals as he entered a state of cultivation. The speed of cultivation with the Taisher sacred scripture was indeed formidable. At this pace, within a month, my mental prowess could transcend into the spirit realm. In the Jojo continent, the classification of mental realms is divided into several stages: the void realm, the spirit realm, the transforming spirit realm, and the law manifestation realm. The void realm represents the level of mortal mental capacity, where, aside from those with innate talent, most mortals possess inherently weak mental faculties. The spirit realm, however, grants the ability to connect with the spiritual energies of the heavens and earth, enhancing mental perception and enabling the formation of a certain range and means of attack. In the realm of spiritual transformation, one's mental prowess begins to merge with the essence of the universe, granting the ability for extensive mental perception and offensive capabilities. Upon reaching the realm of Dharma manifestation, one's mental energy crystallizes into a spiritual form, aligning with the laws of nature. The spirit can then separate from the body, traversing the heavens, and as long as the spirit endures, so too shall the consciousness of the corporeal form. Should Lin Chun manage to transcend the spiritual realm, he would gain additional depth and methods at his disposal. Throughout the night, Lin Chun immersed himself in relentless cultivation, oblivious to the passage of time. The events that transpired within the Shangwan clan the previous night had roused all the high-ranking members and even the secluded elders from their meditative states. Shangwan Bihan might indeed become the second individual in the clan's history to undergo a second awakening of her bloodline, a revelation that stirred excitement among countless elders. Moreover, this information was revealed by a young diviner. Had it not been for him, the Shangwan clan could have lost a beacon of hope for resurgence. However, skepticism lingered among several high-ranking members and elders of the Shangwan clan. If this were merely the ruse of a charlatan, it would mean the entire clan had been made a fool. The following day, within the grand hall of the Shangwan clan, numerous high-ranking officials and elders convened, all of whom were formidable warriors of the battle spirit realm or higher, with some surpassing even that level. Master Shirlaji, this way please, announced Shangwan Bihan, adorned in a flowing white gown, as she personally escorted Lin Chun into the hall. The atmosphere was charged with anticipation. As Lin Chun stepped into the grand hall, an overwhelming sense of pressure enveloped him, as if countless piercing gazes, sharp as swords, sought to penetrate his very being, unveiling all his secrets. Sensing this oppressive atmosphere, Lin Chun narrowed his eyes. Nearly everyone present in the hall possessed a cultivation level exceeding the 9th stage of the battle soul realm. Darn it. These old fellows must be aiming to intimidate me. In times like this, retreat is not an option. Undeterred by the scrutinizing stares, Lin Chun maintained an air of nonchalance. Advancing into the hall, and without hesitation, took a seat beside them, casually propping his legs atop the table. What? Have you all discerned something remarkable about me? Lin Chun chuckled mockingly, provoking a chorus of astonished gasps from the numerous elders and family dignitaries. Is this young lad even 18? His physique is commendable. His cultivation is decent, and his mental fortitude is resilient. His temperament is not weak, but beyond that, there is little else to note. Why do I feel as though we've been ensnared by this young man? I have encountered several genuine diviners in my time, yet none like him. Huang Fuqingyu, present from the previous night, held his fan with a cold smirk, looking down upon Lin Chun with a disdainful air. As if he had already unraveled the young man's deceptive tricks, he ingratiatingly addressed the esteemed family members, saying, "Esteemed ones, I have long suspected this lad to be a charlatan. It is merely by Han's lack of experience that led her to be deceived by him. I implore you all to take action and subdue this impudent child." Let us not allow him to mock our entire family." A handsome middle-aged man seated at the main hall cast a glance at him and calmly remarked, "We shall discern the truth of his nature ourselves." After experiencing a setback, a subtle glimmer of murderous intent flickered in Huang Fu Qingyu's eyes. Chapter 24. Exploring the mansion of the Shangwan family. The young diviner, Shangwan Yunfan. The current head of the Shangwan family, with an air of elegance, smiled graciously, devoid of any pretentiousness or condescension towards Lin Shun. Little did he know, Lin Shun, munching on a bright red apple, waved his hand dismissively, refusing. "What? Damn it. Do you think the Shangwan family is a mere place for idle chatter?" An irate elder stood up, glaring fiercely at Lin Shun. With a resounding crash, to everyone's astonishment, Lin Shun kicked over the table before him, spilling tea everywhere, and unleashed a torrent of furious invective. "Do you think I am some run-of-the-mill fortune teller, merely performing tricks? To divine fate and uncover heavenly mysteries entails great sacrifice. It's not something to be taken lightly. Do you think I'm here to entertain you? Has your brain been muddled?" This scene left the guards stationed outside the hall in a state of sheer shock. In the history of Wanling City, who had ever dared to speak so brazenly before the entirety of the Shangwan family's elite? Even Shangwan Yunfan was momentarily taken aback, pondering the identity of this audacious individual. As even the foremost alchemist of Wanling City would not dare to speak so boldly in front of them. Lin Shun understood his own situation. He was no ordinary diviner. If he were to truly demonstrate his abilities, he might inadvertently reveal a flaw before these cunning old-timers. So he had to act with bravado. One must feign bravado. "Master, please quell your anger. My father and the elders harbor no ill intentions. They are merely curious to witness your prowess." Shangwan Bihan promptly sought to soothe Lin Chen's agitation, while one elder, upon receiving a tacit signal from another, indignantly resumed his seat. It was only then that Lin Chen adjusted his collar and slowly returned to his place, asserting that when seeking assistance, one ought to adopt a demeanor befitting such a pursuit, rather than presenting oneself as if I were the one approaching them. "Let us first clarify the matter at hand that you wish to discuss." The elder statesmen furrowed their brows, ready to erupt, yet Shangwan Yunfan intervened. Sensing that this young man was no ordinary individual, there was an enigmatic aura about him that eluded his understanding. My earlier conduct was indeed presumptuous. With that in mind, let us get straight to the point. Our Shangwan family possesses a unique lineage, inherited through ancestral blood, which grants us the rare ability known as the purple gold eye. Shangwan Yunfan's expression momentarily betrayed a hint of painful nostalgia before he continued. "The purple gold eye allows us to perceive numerous treasures of the world and the concealed energies that pervade the cosmos. However, in recent centuries, our mastery of the purple gold eye has steadily declined, as the ancestral altar that underpins our family's cultivation has begun to lose its potency, resulting in stagnation in our practices and rendering it challenging for even the younger generation to progress." At last, he let out a profound sigh. The ability of the purple golden eyes could not be cultivated through mere martial arts or techniques. It could only be honed within the ancestral altar left by their forebears. Should the ancestral altar ever lose its efficacy entirely, it would herald the countdown to their family's downfall. At this moment, an elderly man with white hair took the floor. He was the second elder of the Shangwan family, a figure of considerable weight. In a sincere tone, he remarked, "For this matter, we have expended great resources to invite a diviner to analyze our ancestral altar, yet to no avail. If you could resolve this, or even uncover the cause of our ancestral altar's decline, our family would surely reward you with invaluable treasures." It was evident that they had been driven to a desperate juncture. Otherwise, with the pride of these old men, how could they place their trust in a mere youth like Lin Shun? They were now resorting to a gamble of last hope. Upon hearing the explanations from Shangwan Yunfan and the second elder, Lin Chen's eyes sparkled with insight, his heart racing. Could it be that a tribute orb? Very well. I now comprehend the situation. With that, let us commence. Lin Shun, filled with enthusiasm, rolled up his sleeves and rose, his readiness eliciting astonishment from all present. "Master Shi, do you not wish to discuss the remuneration first?" Shangwan Yunfan questioned, puzzled. Was there truly such a diviner who would act without clarifying compensation? "Once we identify the root of the problem, I will certainly bring up the matter of remuneration. Otherwise, discussing it now would merely be a waste of time. Would it not?" Lin Shin bent down to pick up an attribute orb, a smile gracing his lips. His self-assured demeanor elicited a hearty laugh from Shangwan Yunfan, who exclaimed, "Indeed, Master Shirleji is an intriguing individual. Without further ado, he commanded, "Everyone, remain still. Allow me to meticulously examine the feng shui and fortune of your surroundings." Without hesitation, Lin Shun began to fervently collect the attribute orbs scattered throughout the main hall. The quality of these orbs was exceptionally high, and their abundance had long captivated his interest. As Lin Chen's power grew, even without initiating an attack, attribute orbs would drop from some formidable warriors, filling his collection to the brim. Host has acquired 6, 849 points of wood energy, 5, 899 points of fire energy, 18, 922 points of technique essence, 531 points of mental strength, and 23, 781 points of vitality. The significant rise in attributes caused the corners of Lin Chen's mouth to rise uncontrollably. His actions left the onlookers perplexed. What exactly was this young man up to? He had promised to assist them in uncovering the issues surrounding their ancestral altar, yet he was wildly grasping at the air around him. What kind of technique was this? Was this the manner in which a diviner calculated the heavens and deduced fate? After gathering the attribute orbs in the hall, Lin Shun continued his pursuit outside the temple. The crowd hurriedly followed, eager to decipher what this master of divination, Shirleji, was truly about. The host acquired 359 points of spirit, 4,195 points of the essence of cultivation, 3,125 points of fire energy, and 10,274 points of vitality energy. Lin Shin swept through the area like a tempest, collecting all the scattered and resplendent attribute orbs strewn across the ground. Within the illustrious Shangwan family, even the guards began their journey in the spirit communication realm, while the servants were already in the chi refining realm. The attribute orbs they dropped were of extraordinary quality. Lin Chen's smile widened, for this Shangwan residence was nothing short of a treasure trove. The estate was so vast that even at full speed, Lin Chen would require half an hour to traverse it completely. He continued his brisk pace of collecting until darkness enveloped the surroundings. What on earth is he doing? He has nearly circled the entire Shangwan residence today. Hey, don't you know? He is the diviner invited by Miss Shangwan Bihan. Ha ha ha. Uft. A beggar, I believe, can also fumble around on the ground. Keep your voice down. He is someone of great importance, even revered by the second elder. Come on. I suspect he is nothing but a fraud. Miss Bihan must have been too naive to be deceived by this young man. The many young folks within the Shangwan residence, upon witnessing Lin Shun's erratic gathering, could not help but scoff and ridicule him, including Huang Fu Qingyu, who eagerly awaited Lin Chen's impending embarrassment. The next day, in the ceremonial hall of Shangwan Yunfan. Today, the Shangwan family is graced by several distinguished guests, whose stature warrants a personal reception by Shangwan Yunfan himself. Among them is an individual of significant importance from the Lord's manor, accompanied by a renowned fortune teller, a true master of celestial calculations, who has been summoned at great expense to decipher the mysteries of fate. Chapter 25. The discovery of the ancestral altar at the Shangwan Manor. A nimble figure darted through the garden and courtyard, eventually arriving before a magnificent bathhouse. The entourage trailing behind Lin Shun, along with Shangwan Bihan, hurriedly exclaimed, "Master Shirleji, that is our Shangwan Manor's women's bathhouse." What? The women's bathhouse? I am in search of the women's. Oh no, I seek your ancestral altar. What? Young brother Yunfan, this is the diviner I specifically invited for you. Hailing from the southern dragon city of the wilderness realm, he is Master Yan from the 24-star divination organization. Countless forces have been salvaged under his guidance, and I have spared no expense to secure his services this time. Within the conference hall, the rotund man in a yellow robe animatedly introduced Shangwan Yunfan, who sat opposite an ethereal elder and a haughty white-browed old man. "Ah, Master Yan, greetings. I am Shangwan Yunfan of the Shangwan family." Shangwan Yunfan courteously cupped his hands in salutation, but the white-browed elder merely nodded with an air of disdain, showing no regard for his courtesy. "I am already aware of your situation. It pertains to the rise and fall of the entire family's fortunes. To glimpse such vast currents of fate, I shall expend a considerable amount of my vital energy," Master Yin declared, his tone grave. Shangwan Yunfan clenched his fist slightly. Although there was already a diviner within the Shangwan Manor, one could not afford to slight a figure of such prominence whom he had personally sought out. Moreover, Master Shirleji may not necessarily be able to resolve the situation. If he cannot, we may as well allow Master Yin to give it a try. With this thought, Shangwan Yunfan smiled and remarked, "Of course, if it were not a matter of great importance, we would not have sought Master Yan's assistance. Rest assured, should the problem be resolved, the remuneration will be generous. He chuckled. I can vouch for this. The Shangwan family possesses considerable resources. You may proceed with confidence, Master Yan. The elderly man, exuding an air of ethereal grace, responded with a light laugh. He was none other than Xing Wana, the chief alchemist of Wanfeng City. Given this, regarding the remuneration, Master Yin was about to broach the subject of compensation when a flurry of urgent voices interrupted the proceedings in the ceremonial hall. Master Yin Fan. Joyous news, joyous news. Two personal guards burst into the chamber, repeatedly expressing their congratulations, prompting puzzled and curious glances from Shangwan Yunfan and the other three. Master Shirliji has entered the ancestral altar. The guards excitedly reported. Entering the ancestral altar, what significance does that hold? Who led him inside? Shangwan Yufan furrowed his brow. No one led him. He found his way in on his own. What? Shangwan Yunfan's expression shifted dramatically. The location of the Shangwan family's ancestral altar is exceedingly secretive. Without guidance from core family members, an ordinary person would find it nearly impossible to approach. Even a formidable warrior of the Battle Soul realm would struggle to ascertain its exact position. The esteemed master now requests your presence to discuss the matter of remuneration. Having discovered the root cause of the diminished energy at the ancestral altar, the eyes of the two guards gleamed with profound admiration and astonishment. They were truly witnessing the myriad mystical techniques of the diviner. The diviner is indeed remarkable. In a seemingly random exploration, he uncovered a secret passage leading to the ancestral altar from the women's bathhouse. This passage was unknown even to those of the official household, a remnant left by their forebears. Oh, a master? Discussing remuneration? Master Yin keenly seized upon these words, his eyes narrowing. Is it truly so? Honored guests, I kindly ask you to step aside for a moment. Allow me to guide you to the location of my family's ancestral altar. We shall converse further along the way. Shangwan Yunfan's demeanor was animated, although the location of the ancestral altar should not be easily disclosed to outsiders. There was no time to dwell on such matters. The immediate priority was to restore the altar. Within the Shangwan estate, beneath the rear courtyard, within a secret passage, an expansive underground space had been excavated, constructing a massive ancient stone platform. This was a grand altar spanning several tens of yards. Standing beside the ancient altar, one could distinctly perceive the extraordinary waves of energy emanating from within, influencing all who approached. Numerous members of the Shangwan family stood behind Lin Chen, numbering in the hundreds, including elders, the younger generation, and trusted personal guards within the family. Everyone was astonished as they gazed at Lin Chen's retreating figure. This fellow, through a series of random explorations, had remarkably uncovered a secret passage that even the members of the Shangwan family were oblivious to, granting access to the ancestral altar. In Lin Chen's eyes, the ancient altar presented an entirely different spectacle. At its very center, there floated a golden-purple attribute orb, significantly larger than any he had previously encountered, approximately the size of a fist. Thus, it became clear, the energy of the ancient altar had been siphoned off by this attribute orb, which explained the minuscule energy it emitted. Lin Shun turned his gaze toward the base of the altar and discerned a clue. The altar had not lost its potency. Rather, it resembled a river obstructed by a dam, with the attribute orb serving as the control gate for this blockage. Master Shirliji, can you indeed resolve the issues surrounding my Shangwan family's ancestral altar? At that moment, several figures emerged from the passage on the opposite side of the altar. It was Shangwan Yunfan accompanied by several esteemed guests. Upon noticing Shangwan Yunfan approaching with palpable excitement, Lin Chen smiled confidently. Yes, I believe we can first discuss the matter of remuneration. Are you also a diviner? To Lin Chen's surprise, Master Yin boldly stepped forward, exuding an air of arrogance and disdain towards him. Yunfan, who is this? Inquired the second elder of the Shangwan family, who had been following Lin Chen with a puzzled expression. Elder, this is the renowned diviner we previously commissioned, Master Yin of the 24 Stars of the Wasteland. The introduction of Shangwan Yunfan caused the expression of the second elder to stiffen. The 24-star calculation is a mysterious organization of diviners in the wilderness, known for its dual nature of both light and dark, with considerable influence, composed entirely of skilled calculators. Master Yin, displaying his cooperation, coughed lightly, prompting all present to stand in solemn respect, for he is indeed a person of great significance. It turns out that Master Yin of the 24-star calculation is a figure of considerable renown, and I must admit my oversight. Originally, I had invited Master Yin to assist the Shangwan family in discerning the reason behind the diminished power of our ancestral altar. However, my youngest daughter encountered a benefactor the other day who has already identified the issue at hand. Master Yin may take a respite. We shall compensate him fully for his services, not a single coin less. The second elder spoke with great courtesy, a smile gracing his lips, while Master Yin raised an eyebrow and cast a glance at Lin Chun. A benefactor? Could it be this young lad? What a peculiar fellow. Is he even a diviner? Young man, from whom do you hail, and what organization do you represent? Master Yin's tone dripped with disdain as he questioned the audacity of this youth. If he, Yin Jiwen, were to be outshone by such a greenhorn, how could he maintain his reputation in the wilderness? I am Lin Chun, known on the path as Shirluji. I dabble in various pursuits: flirting, arson, alchemy, and posturing. Divination is merely a hobby of mine. Posturing is my true vocation.